Hey, welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. My name's Peter Howard at PA Howdy on Twitter. This is a live stream where we talk about Dynasty pretty much for 3 hours straight every Wednesday from 9:30 till close until we try and cleverly distract you with something that's behind you and then end the stream when you're not looking because we're sneaky like that. And if you have any questions, comments, or thoughts about Dynasty, drop them in whatever comment box or whatever streaming platform you're watching on. We'll be happy to talk to you about it, with it, or just ignore it. Sometimes we ignore it. We do go democratically around here, so it's the order in which they arrive according to the StreamYard timeline? I want to say timeline. We do try and get through them as quick as possible, but at the same time, we do like talking to you all, so we tend to go pretty much in depth. So if you may ask a question or make a comment and we don't see it for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes even an hour, that's normal around here, just to let you all know. So, yeah, thanks very much for sticking around with us and having fun in the non-point scoring season, which is really the heart of Dynasty anyway. And, yeah, let's go talk to Russ and Zach. Hey guys, how's it going?
Pete, fantastic. Why are you up top? That was weird.
He just likes to feel powerful every once in a while. It's fine.
I'm turning the music on again this stream. So
that is a good idea since it worked so well last time.
It did work really well last time. Like we didn't say any stupid things the entire time the music was playing. I'm just going to check the chat.
No one
too loud again this week. Let me know.
Yeah, I'm going to follow along with the bottom of the chat, and I know at least one person is more than willing to text me to let me know that.
Maybe
right.
It's nice to have friends like Bob.
Sure. Bob is wonderful.
Call it friends. Yeah, sure. I was posting pictures of the expo, not intentionally. I forgot what time of year it was. But I was looking for any picture of a human being on my phone because it's just table after screenshot after screenshot of different fantasy tables. I was like, do I have any of my animals? My children? No. And the first four were all of the expo. And it was you and Ryan and Zach. And like Bob was fifth, but you can't add 5 pictures. I was like, guess I don't know you, Bob. Sorry. Sorry. That's what I was thinking of when you said that. All right, don't see any panicked I can't hear you messages, so that's cool. Jeffrey Jacobs, hey bud, in the chat at 20-8. Man, I was still writing my rankings article at 20-8. Whether it's AM or PM, I was still writing my rankings article. Hey Jeffrey, big trade, 12-team, 1 QB PPR, start 8, no premium. Give Pickens, Kittle, Sam Howell. You know it's a big trade when it's got.
The answer is probably just going to be good. You did good. If you're giving up all of these seconds, chances are you got fewer pieces. In which case, you
got a first back.
You got
224. Wait, and you got the 103 and 104. I think you
crushed that.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you got that 24 first. You probably should have gotten 103 and 104, but you found a way to get a 24 first on top.
I mean, it's one of those where you're like, man, I feel a little bad giving up Kittle, and then you see the other side, and you're like, I don't feel bad at all.
No, yeah, that's literally what I did. I was like, Pickens and Kittle. No, it's the 3 and the 4. It's good. No, good job, Jeffrey. Oh, good job or bad job, depending on which way your moral code. Swings.
Hold on, but the second he said, who are the top 4 rookie picks? I already hit.
This is non-superflex, I'm pretty sure. He didn't say superflex. 1 QB. Bijan Robinson, JSN.
Addison.
Bijan Robinson, JSN, Jordan Addison, probably Gibbs.
JSN.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I think
you might get a Quentin Johnson thrown in there.
For, like, I try to not, like, I take Zach's advice every once in a while, and it's one of those, you talk to you so often and other yous that you need to remember that there are normal people out there because we are not. So JSN is Jackson Smith and Jigba. For anyone listening who doesn't actually know who that is, wide receiver, but because I catch myself a lot just saying JSN.
I just call him the Jedi.
His name is long.
And that's a great point, right? Like when I do my rookie write-ups, and you'll hear this when we start talking rookies on the Dynasty Dummies, but when I do my rookie write-ups, if you go read them, it looks kind of strange because every other sentence I refer to the player's name. But I do that when we do the show, the podcast,
right?
Because if
you lose track of who you're talking about.
Absolutely,
he does this and he does this.
Yeah.
Wait, like I did the
With
listening.
7 he's in. Who are we talking about?
Yeah.
You said the name.
That always used to bug me listening, so I try.
But yeah, so that's it. There are 2 top receivers and 2 top running backs.
Bob
Jeff.
just texted me the music is fine.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. I don't know you, obviously, but it's nice.
Yeah.
Lounging bet. 10-team, half-point PPR Superflex. Is Godwin for the 203 and 206 a board trade? I would say it's a rip-off.
I'd rather have Godwin.
If you are getting Godwin, it can be a board trade, but also still be a decent idea. You should not trade Godwin for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Unless it's like the 201, 202, and that pick is on the clock, and there is magic that fell for some reason. But like right now, you shouldn't be selling Godwin for 2 seconds. He's still too good for that, regardless of quarterback.
Frank N. If you were to assign a draft pick value to Pacheco after his great game, he had a pretty good season. Not just a good game, but still, what is it? If it's demonstrably different than 1 QB and Superflex, how different is it? I mean, it might be if we're talking rookie picks, I guess. But just generically, I don't think there's a difference between the value between Superflex for a running back. I actually just did that ranking article, and I was surprised. I had him lower than average, and I felt bad, but I also found him really low. Like, it's a second round rookie pick, probably top four second round pick. It's probably as high as I go. Sound about right?
I mean, I think anything after like 109, maybe 110, you're basically what you're trying to get is Pacheco.
DLF ADP right now, he's like 86 overall off the board, just below David Montgomery, which is fine, but he's also being drafted above like Calvin Ridley and a lot of wide receivers that I probably lean towards him, Rondo Moore, stuff like that. But I think his value's okay. Yeah, it's probably a high second round pick. Yeah. Bob Gilchrist, Peter, how did you get all those books to Kentucky? Assuming it was a boat to train to truck to horse and carriage. I just put them in my knapsack. I swam over here.
Walked from England,
Yeah. No, actually, when I moved over here, that was a question. I was like, oh, crap, my life. I've got all this stuff. And I don't really have a lot of stuff in general, but I did have stuff. And I found one package service that would like deliver a box here, which is pretty big box, but not just a box. You can pack to university in it or anything. And what did that cost me at the time? It still is now a fortune, like $200 or so. And I found myself, I just literally packed it with books. I was like, everything else is kind of like, I'll probably rebuy these to read them. And everything else was like clothes. I mean, I'm taking a suitcase. I mean, I didn't have much else, but yeah, I literally paid to have some of them sent over.
And that's just got to suck because books are just heavy in general, even though they're just.
That's the thing. It was the way it was done. There was just the size of the box. I was like, the books. I mean, I'm getting value for money. You know, the weight. Order 66. Who are each of your early buy low targets? I mean, it's relative, and it's about what we're talking about. And also, slippers suck, and they don't exist. But whatever. I have managed to snag a couple of Burks shares. Burks is a good one, but it's a fairly high range. For late first, yeah. If we're talking about late first round value, the 111, the 112, I think Traylon Burks is probably at the top of the list. You've also got, I like Marcus Brown in that range of wide receiver as well. Who else was in that range?
Okay, so hear me out.
Maybe.
I assume we're talking Superflex because he's talking about paying 103 for Kyler and someone actually taking that.
I'd take that.
Mac Jones is being traded.
He's way too low.
And he's young, starter, unquestionable for the next couple of years. And don't forget, they went from literally not having an offensive coordinator to having Bill O'Brien, who that is a job he is good at.
Yeah.
He's actually a pretty good head coach. Shitty general manager. Very shitty general manager. So, not to say that Mac Jones will be a top 10 dynasty quarterback probably ever, but to get a guy for he's today, Wednesday, tomorrow. I wrote the Trading Post article about him. Mac Jones for the 202, Mac Jones for the 205, and Zach Wilson. These are real trades that Mac Jones is getting traded for, and it's ridiculous. He will be better than that value.
Yeah, he's 50 picks below Kenny Pickett. Yeah, he's a buy.
Yeah.
Like any good quarterback, and Mike Jones is perfectly fine. Also, Russell Wilson is below Kenny Pickett, Aaron Rodgers, even Jared Goff and Derek Carr. Pretty much the Kenny Pickett line. The ones under there are all values if you're looking at a quarterback.
Which is really funny.
Brandon Ayuk and Cooper Kupp and Calvin Ridley are ones that we've repeatedly mentioned as well, so I was going to throw those out. Right now, Kyle Pitts, the first time, is trading at mere human value. It's a high value, but I think he's probably low. I was writing up my rankings and I realized I was 15 spots higher than the average, but I was 30 spots below where he was getting drafted this time last year in January. And I'm like, he had a good season. It's nothing. He didn't suddenly. He didn't work out not to be good, and that's just kind of crazy. I just stayed the same on it,
which is really funny.
Human value.
We'll call it cross promotion. We did Dynasty Wall Street yesterday. Actually, I'm about to post it right now. I brought Kenny Pickett to the table as our quarterback, as a way to talk about Mac Jones, because when I went to Jones' value was, and it was low like I thought it was, but then I looked up, I saw Kenny Pickett was above him, and I'm like, we're gonna change how we talk about this because I need to Kenny Pickett's not good. Why is he up there? And it turned into me just talking about Mac Jones for even more.
Just looking at my value list based on my ranks versus the DLF consensus, which means there's rarely big swings. I like Lamar Jackson a lot relative to where they're being drafted. I've got him 3rd overall. He's last time I scraped Superflex ADP, he was 6th at the position. 3 spots is big in that range. Then there's, apart from the players I've mentioned, Mike Evans. He's wide receiver 30 right now. I've got him in the top 20. Trey McBride. I'm still high on Patrick Freiermuth by 2 ranking spots, apparently. And if we're talking low, you've also got Evan Ingram. Tyler Lockett is once again being undervalued, but that's just for the course.
Is it?
Every year.
Yeah.
All right. Randy Wyatt. Bryce scares me as a QB prospect. Bryce Young. I know that name. The closest side. Oh, it's a side. So it's Bryce Young that's meant to be short. I don't care. If he gets drafted top 20, I'll let you all believe that, size is a thing here.
Kyler Murray has been a top 7 points per game quarterback every year in his career. And let's not forget.
No, it's more small, so injured because bone density, I guess.
Well, he brings Kyler's points per game average has gone down. You also have to take into account that he had no one to throw to for 2 years. They got him someone to throw to, and then Cliff Kingsbury just didn't remember how to run an offense, and it was ugly. I'm not even that big of a Kyler fan, but I am not really worried about him whatsoever. And if anything, he just needs to learn how to go down a little better or get hit better, because that's non-throwing arm shoulder injuries usually means he's curling when he goes to get hit or when he goes to hit the ground. So I'm not worried about size.
It's not going to be his size. His size isn't causing the injuries. It's not more related to injuries. I mean, we're not that like Russell Wilson used to get talked about as being too small when he was drafted. Drew
He was
Brees,
being called too short.
like everyone that's not been a strapping 6'2" guy has been. Oh, he's a little short. And if they don't work out, it's considered C. And if they do, it's like, well, they're the exceptions. It's like there's very few drafted at that size. And most of them work out if they are drafted at that size. And if he's good, and I mean, you've got ancillary stuff, like you're saying, you can fall certain ways, you can learn certain ways. There's also different types of rushing styles, but that's not about his size. It's about how he plays at his size. If you know what I mean? Like this seems like, and right now, if you're thinking this way, that's where his ADP is. So like, you're like, I don't care that he'll get healthy and could still be a top 5 QB. I'm going to wait and see if someone else gets that instead of like it's a good value bet, even though you can't start until late second season. It's just the size thing frustrates me because it really feels like I've got to tear down this great athlete because I can't do these. Not you, Randy, but that's what I think where the core of it is. It's like, bro, they're all built differently than us. Like even at this size, they take different levels of pain and punishment than we do, and they've been doing it a minute. Like, I think braining whether he's too weak, that's what it comes. He's too small, so he's too weak. It's like, no, he's built differently than 90% of all people. That just to play the game the way he does. Like, he's already passed that threshold for me. Sorry, Zach, carry on.
No, if only we could have seen Bryce Young in a conference where, like, say 40% of the NFL players come from, and seen him put up, say, let's just say hypothetically, like almost a 5,000-yard season, like maybe almost 50 touchdowns as like a sophomore, it would really do a lot to solidify him as a potential prospect, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Maybe if like the NFL funnel to the NFL was so streamlined, like 70% of all prospects came from 5 high schools, and so 90% of the players in the NFL have been playing together since they were in high school. Maybe wouldn't know how he stacks up against NFL prospects. But no, I mean, he cannot work out. I'm definitely not doing quarterback evaluation here, and it's just his size will be an excuse or it will be an exception, despite the fact that's not the way exceptions work. It's just so that we can keep saying small, therefore more human. Obviously, I also am similar to this NFL prospect. That's what it feels like it comes from for me. It's like, no, they're all physically different than us, guys. These are fairly elite level physical specimens. Like, it doesn't matter how tall he is not more like us. Like but again, I might be wrong about the course. And not you, Randy. I think that's where the narrative starts from. Can't play in the NFL if you're too short, because I can't play. It's like, no, you can't play because you're not as good as that guy. But I could be wrong on that. That's where my negative energy comes from, not your question. But yeah, he could not work out. But if the NFL believes it, I think he's done more than enough to prove he can stand up. And again, like, some of the biggest quarterback injuries have come from literally the biggest, toughest, like Cam Newton. Andrew Luck was Cam Newton's size, and everyone forgets that. Like, it doesn't matter your size in the NFL. If they go down to injury, it's not because they were too small or too weak. It's because the NFL is vicious, and anyone can suffer.
You're a bigger guy. People want to hit you harder. So.
Yeah, and there is, I mean, there's nuance there. Like, who was it I was talking about level, how you rush can affect how you get hit or what ways you get hit. And I don't believe that, but that it starts from he's small, so I've got to find a way that he's dangerous because he's small. And like, that's a bad process for me. Like, I just don't start the thought process. Yeah. I treat it like the combine. It's like, yeah, maybe. But I think it will be more of an excuse than a reason if that's the case. What's your prospect board look like? I have a big tier break after pick 8. Bjorn, Stroud, Richardson, JSN, Young, Gibbs, Addison, and Levis in that order. How much do you hate me having Richardson third? Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people are going to value him. It's like, you guys are going to hate it. I don't hate it. Like, if he's drafted in the first round, I'm going to have to rank him as a first round because he's a quarterback. And he can run like the Dickens, and where he played means his stats are somewhat related to that rather than what he can necessarily do. And again, I don't do a lot of quarterback evaluation, but I had Travis May on. He literally runs the whole college program for Mojo, and he says he's not been very good at passing. Not that he didn't do it a lot, or not because of where he was playing. But if he gets drafted there, he's going to have to be valued there. My big board, I don't have tiers quite eked out yet. I've got positional ranks more than anything. I think I've got a big 6 with a big 1, then a big 2. Bijan Robinson is in a tier of his own. Then you've got JSN and Addison. And then you've got a solid tier of three prospects or so with Gibbs and I don't know about Quentin Johnson yet, and Downs, probably. Somewhere in there. And the 2 quarterbacks, if we're talking super flex, fit in between Bijan Robinson and the wide receivers.
Yeah.
Sound about right?
Yeah, and I haven't done quarterbacks yet. I won't get into quarterbacks. We're going to have this week, I'm going to do like a primer episode. I'm going to do tomorrow, do a rookie. This is how we scout. This is what we're looking for. This is what the 2023 class looks like. And then we're going to do 2 weeks of running backs, 2 weeks of wide receiver, 2 weeks of running backs. Then we'll do our quarterback. So I'm like at least another 2 weeks away from starting to look at the quarterbacks, Randy. So I can't give you like a real accurate yet, but from what I've watched right now with the wide receivers and the running backs, it's almost exactly what Peter said. It's Bijan Robinson in a tier by himself. There's probably those 2 quarterbacks, Stroud and Young, will end up in 2 or 3. But again, I reserve judgment on that. Addison and Smith and Jigba are, it's a pick 'em. I have JSN, Addison, JSN. I have been vacillating. I probably, if you put me on the clock, I would take JSN over Addison. But I'm not going to get upset one way or the other. Then for me, it's probably Gibbs, although I think Quentin Johnston deserves some mention there. And after that, I think you're in the Wild West. I think you start looking at Kayshon Boutte. I think you start looking at Devin A-Chain. You start looking at Zach Charbonnet, and it's the and you
Speaking
mentioned
of too small, I think I like a lot of these running backs this year because of their too smallness. Speaking of which, A-Chain is meant to be a little on the underside, and then you've got that other guy. What's his name? I'm trying to pull it up, but he's meant to be really tiny and but productive. So that's nice. We got just a draft class of running backs like Tutu Atwell, and I'm about it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Are you drafting the Myers kid? Do you think you'd have him ranked in the first round this year?
No, because he's a tight end, and I don't
won't take any tight ends in the first round, though. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's not really a.
Literally the only tight end I've ever taken in the first round was Pitts, and that was because I could trade him for multiple first round picks. It's like as soon as you draft
him, when you can go get Trey McBride from last year, you're fine. I did mean to throw a few names out to you, and again, I'm not to the depth of this class right now, but there are some players I haven't looked at yet that are standing out to look at. I didn't know you already said you haven't looked at Trey Parker yet. Palmer?
No, not yet.
Who's the other fella? Oh no, that can't be it. No. I'll think of it. Sorry, this isn't much of a stream right now, but I forgot it. Parker Washington, maybe?
I have watched Parker Washington, Penn State.
Yeah.
But
not much to report there, I guess. Anyway.
No, I can give you. I didn't know.
I've been looking at everything 6 different ways, and I forget what I think now. At this point, like I can't remember past the top 6. I'm like, what?
So Washington is he's 5'10", 212 pounds, kind of a slot guy. He's real good at finding holes in zones, both underneath and between levels, which is one of the things that I've started to really look for in wide receivers, especially with the NFL going a lot more to like that cover 2
slot. Yeah.
So they're playing some zone. He's got real strong hands in traffic, brings the ball into his body very quickly, but is catching it out away, which you like. He's very physical with the ball, so he'll run through corners after contact, and he's got good contact balance. I don't think he's very fast, and I don't think he's very dynamic. He relies on being in the right place, which that should ring bells with like David Bell, no pun intended. Like that was one of the things that I liked about David Bell, but you're sitting there going like, I don't know how he does it. He's just in the right place. And so sometimes that doesn't translate to the NFL. I think he struggles to separate against man, especially against quick corners. And he'll occasionally drift, losing separation in zone. So like sometimes he'll, instead of sitting down in between the levels, he'll kind of keep going and get passed off to the next defender. And that's not necessarily what you love to see. And so he's in that, like, I think he's my wide receiver, like 10 right now. I'd have to look, but he's somewhere down there.
Marvin Mims and Rashi Rice, by the way, I think.
Yeah.
I know you like them. Oh, no, it's just Marvin. Age 18, 20% breakout age. There you go.
See? There you go.
You'd like throwing that at someone. I don't even look
math.
at breakout age so much anymore, so I don't know. Anyway, you don't have any, do you, Russ? You have no answers. You don't.
If you want me to just rewind this so I can hear what Zach said and then like say it back
and then say what Zach said. Yeah, we say what Zach says here. How bad of a panic trade was it for me to sell Tua for Diggs and Jordan Love? Big. In a super flex. Yeah, that was a big panic trade.
Yeah. I mean, I like having Diggs on my roster, but you'd rather have a quarterback.
Yeah, but the value isn't terrible. And if, regardless of what we think of Jordan Love, if he becomes a starter,
then you trade him.
No,
yes, but the value is a little better as well.
People are trading him like this is trading Jordan Love as if he became a starter for me. Like I think if you've got Jordan Love in a trade, I'm probably not going to like that side of it. I've got no vet.
But Peter, you might like that side of it in 3 weeks. Like that's the thing with this trade is like it.
I mean, it could be wrong, but I'm not gonna change. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm really not rooting against the kid. Like God, he was drafted behind Aaron Rodgers. That's a tough start, you know. And
but the thing, like Rodgers may not come back to Green Bay. Is that like that's the bet on this? And if Rodgers doesn't come back to Green Bay, okay, laugh, have fun.
No.
It's fine.
No, I wasn't laughing about that. I was thinking about him getting lost because he's in his darkness retreat, and I thought there was a joke there, and I was laughing at it in my head. Not the idea. He can't find his way to the door. You know?
I'm glad you find yourself funny, Peter. Like, if anything else, I'm glad you find yourself funny.
But that's the potential for that dig side. I mean, it's still Tua right now, but it's not like. It's not terrible.
No, I don't think it's... Yeah, I agree.
I, as always, sit on an island being wrong. Because that's just the way I live my life. Stephen White. What do you think is reasonable price to get off of Swift? Yeah, I'm too low on Swift, so I'll let someone else answer that. Like, I hate feeling like I'm Lucy, I'm Charlie Brown, not Lucy, and I just want to switch teams at a certain point.
You should still get a pretty decent value out of Swift. I like that. This for your purpose, it's not good that his value is getting lower. For me, I like that it's getting lower because it's actually getting to a point where when the season comes around, assuming he's still healthy, I might try and get one or two of him on some of my teams. You should still...
I would say, could I ask you, Russ, because you do more trades than,
most people.
Trade Jesus. I don't know who the other side of that equation is.
Hold on, I have to Google trade Jesus to find out what that...
I just made him up, so let me know. There's got to be a place... You talked about doing areas of trade during the year. And I'm interested in... I think this off-season running back value is already low, and it's going to go lower as rookie season increases. Is it before or after the NFL draft, or is there an area where you would start sending trades? Because you start sending them too early, you tip your hand a little bit. But I really think like someone like Swift could be a really decent value this off season. But right now,
For
probably still a little high. Is it mid rookie hype? Is it? Sorry, you get the idea. Like I want to send offer some running backs, but I'm wondering if there's a.
Hold
like,
on,
is it during the combine?
No, I don't. I shared my screen. I need you to add it to the stream.
Oh, sorry.
Trade Jesus.
There we go. Trade Jesus. Nice.
I googled it. That's what showed up. What was your question? I was too busy looking for trade Jesus. When is the good time to trade away Swift?
No, I'm interested in trading for him this year. I think their value is already low, and it's going to go low with rookie season ramping up and good running backs being in this draft. And like, I want to take very small shots. Like, I think Rashad White's interesting right now. I think Swift could get really interesting, as Steven's pointing out and Joe pointing out. It's already low. If it goes lower, it's a really interesting, like, value.
Well, okay. Well, you're pretty on point with everything you said at that point. Anytime in the non-point scoring season, it's a good time to try and trade for running backs. But you're right, especially this draft where there are a lot of running backs. I think if you hit the end of the first, maybe not like all the way at the end, but like you hit that 108, 109 where Gibbs is gone, the good wide receivers are gone, probably the quarterbacks. And then you're at that chunk of, 6 or 7 running backs, you're going to find a bunch of people who would rather re-roll off of Swift onto one of these younger guys. Yeah. And I would do that all day. Like, I would send the 9 and back for Swift.
And it will be easier to do that if you've got time between the draft and your rookie draft, because you're going to see Tank Bigsby, Kendre Miller, Zach Evans, Sean Tucker, like these guys are all gonna land somewhere.
That's kind of what I've got in my head. The minute like everyone knows Zach Charbonnet's name, like I only know it because you mentioned it, and I'm a degenerate, so I figured around the combine when you start like people on Twitter are like, I've always loved Zach Charbonnet, and it's like I've never heard you say his name before. Like that's kind of what I'm waiting for. To everyone knows like Sean Tucker's now known because apparently he's PFF, Saquon Barkley or something.
Because he's Jonathan Taylor.
But when those names get common knowledge, I think maybe it's then. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, Stephen. That's hopefully that's.
Can I go back to like what I would?
Yeah.
So if I have Swift, I'm trying to get a wide receiver that people don't want right now, like DK Metcalf.
Ooh.
I have not
Is
found.
Is Debo on that list for you?
Debo is on that list.
Debo is 1,000%.
He's really
honestly, you should be getting Debo plus for Swift.
Yep.
If you can flip Swift into DK Metcalf, I break my mouse or phone screen.
And that's what like, and even if I have to throw a second in with Swift, like that's the type of
that's why you
players.
have seconds. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you.
Joe, I've been staring at this one while talking, actually. I think I saw this on Twitter, and I didn't get it at first. I think I get it now, but is Sean Tucker the Isaiah Spiller of this class? And I think this is a PFF comparison. Isaiah Spiller, and I honestly forgot, or I didn't know that he was like, no, I think I do remember that. He was like a top 3 prospect in the 2022 draft until the combine. So it turns out he was short and slow. I don't think so. Sean Tucker is a pretty productive running back, but no, actually Spiller was a little bit more interesting, and he's not yet short and slow because of the combine. So I think he's actually a pretty solid prospect. Isaiah Spiller just tanked after the combine, after the NFL draft. There was just a lot. I don't expect that for Sean Tucker. I think the NFL is going to take some shots at this running back class, and so like a little more draft cap, not a lot, not first, but day 2 draft capital. I don't think Tucker's going to weigh in like Spiller did to force it down.
He is going to be
and also he's not being touted as like a top 3 prospect this year. He's like 7. He's like running back 7-ish for most, I think. Already, right? PFF aside.
It depends on.
Am I lagging?
It depends on.
Sorry, shut up.
It depends on where you're looking, because I've seen Sean Tucker as high as 2 or 3, like in that Gibbs
okay.
and then whoever the next player is. I've also seen him in my rankings down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's a player that I'm going to have to go back and watch because there's not really a lot of consensus. And if Peter's telling me that he's a good prospect, he's a player I'll go back and watch again, because that's how I do my process. I'll do my evaluation, and then I will start listening to other people that I trust who do evaluations differently than I do. And if we have differing opinions, I'll go back and watch. But and statistically, Tucker is incredible. I mean, he's had 2 seasons where he's been over 20 catches. He's had 2 seasons where he's had over 200 carries. He's had a almost 1,500 yard season. He had a 1,000-yard season this past year. But I don't think he's got great balance. I think he sometimes runs out from under his feet. I think he tends to dance and slow down in traffic, especially when the initial hole doesn't happen. He's not very creative, and he's a really subpar pass blocker, which for a guy who's going to come in and ask to be a pass catcher that's a tough way to get on the field.
He was very productive in the receiving game, to be fair.
Yeah.
Maybe this does it. I actually have Robinson and Gibbs in the same tier right now, which I probably have to relook at because I think Robinson's just in a tier of his own, but like Gibbs was like, it's a great profile. In any other year, he's a very decent running back one. Then I have a tier 2, and that's why I push Gibbs up. So I wanted this tier 2. For me, Tank Bigsby and Zach Charbonnet are a little different than the next group, but like they're all solid prospects. And then in my third tier, I have running backs with questions, or they're just solid and nothing is special. Not to go against you at all, Zach, ever. But I found him to be fine statistically, just by the way I view it, like really solid prospect. So Devon A. Chain, much better, but I know there's going to be concerns for the NFL about his size in the combine, and so I'm just kind of weighing that in. He's not quite that second tier because of it, but I like him statistically that way. Deuce Vaughn is the other short guy, so same thing. Like productive-wise, there, at least especially in terms of his role and pass catcher type. But it's just running back is about opportunity. That's about the draft. That's about the combine, not the stats, but what the NFL thinks of them. And I'm just being hesitant on him. And the other 2 players in that third tier are Sean Tucker, who I don't think there are those concerns on, but statistically he's just good. Just good productive running back, 3 down skill set, cool. And Chase Brown is the other one I have in that tier. And those guys I have the potential to be Isaiah Spiller in this context. Like if any of those are your running back 3 right now, I think you're underrating Bigsby and Charbonnet. But that's it. Yeah.
But I don't believe that Tucker falls down with the combine. Like I think Tucker is.
That's what I mean. I think the NFL is probably going to like the way he looks.
He's got great acceleration. He's got really good long speed. He's a player that can score at any time, anytime he's got the ball. And Tucker also makes really good decisions, cuts at the second level. And so he'll take like a 15-yard gain and make that cut at the second level, and all of a sudden it's a 40-yard gain. And so I don't dislike him. It just there were a lot of things
less at the NFL level.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that it was tough.
Some of his numbers are based on I get you.
But
sorry, I don't mean to keep doing that. Keep talking. Okay. All I've got written down here, I've just looked at him briefly. And the main reason for my note is to call Zach Charbonnet Zach Wine, because I insist on trying to make that a thing. Had a little more opportunity a game, but that's mostly situational based. His elusiveness ratings that's a PFF stat. They're a little lower than Charbonnet and Bigsby, context considered, which is why I have him in this third tier. But he has similar peaks in yards after contact per attempt. But to your point, Zach, some of that is coming from those lucky, would you say, or just situated?
No, I'm like he's very
competition.
talented.
I know what you
but
mean.
it's
Like it's probably a
Yeah.
little and that's why he's okay.
I was going to say all the
Mostly the
things
first blush is a difference in
into it.
expected draft capital because he's coming from Syracuse, right? He's a Syracuse guy.
Yeah.
And Syracuse has not had a lot of success, but that's a little tough to ding the player for.
John Tucker.
So yeah,
Hold on.
Different
Full
tier
circle.
player to me.
Full circle right here. Sean Tucker, Syracuse. The next Isaiah Spiller. CJ Spiller went to Syracuse.
there it is, all the way around.
Get the red thread out. We'll
Analysis.
get this figured out. Yeah, if he's in your top 3, yeah, probably the Isaiah Spiller of this class, I guess. But I think he's a solid prospect. Different, and I don't think the NFL is going to dislike the way he weighs in. So slightly different situation.
The fact that you're looking at a player like Tucker in tier 3 of a class
that
shows you how deep this class is. Like it really is a good class.
And deep. Oh God, that word. But I know. Yeah, I'm same page, which is unfortunate because I do like it when we argue constantly about nothing. Norris, 10 teams to flex PPR. I traded Daniel Jones, Malik Willis, Kittle, and Pacheco. I do like saying that. Fun. For Lamar. I already have Burrow and Lawrence too. Should I hold? I would just keep letting. I would let your league keep letting you do that. I guess. I mean, you can. And again, this is just the way I play Dynasty. And it's like tic-tac-toe compared to a stock market, but you have 3 things that can trade for anything. And that's just like bankable in the off season. Like whatever your team needs, whatever injuries concern happens, whatever you need to win next year, like you can do it with those. You can turn those quarterbacks into exactly what you need at any time. And like you got at least 5 years, even limiting their career's quarterback length to just 5 years instead of 15, that you can continue to do that. Like Aaron Rodgers is still like, so yeah, you just do that. You just bank them, and then you can do things with them. I would say everything's league specific. It's 10 teams, so it's a little more stud orientated than 12 team. If in your league no one values quarterback, maybe don't just go all in on that strategy, because that means when you need or want to trade them for things, you can't because no one values quarterback. But right now you have 3 studs, which means you're definitely getting a points advantage over everyone in your league because your quarterback 2 is scoring better than most people's quarterback 1, like the vast majority. And that's valuable in a point sense as well.
And this is a great time to go get Lamar Jackson before everyone realizes that they got rid of Roman. And now Todd Monken is there.
Assuming they keep Lamar.
Yeah, I mean that's true too. But if they don't, somebody's going to sign him and let him throw. Like that's what they're going to do. Right? Like if the Ravens lose him, he signs somewhere else. Yeah.
Mitchell Wood. The Mitchell Wood, isn't that a comedy duo or half of a comedy duo? Hello, sir. No, fresh trade, just made it. Amari Cooper on the 304 for DeAndre Hopkins. No, in the 301. No. For a start, these picks are interchangeable. You can get the same player at 304 as you can at 301, especially this far out. I've got no idea who I like that deep, unless I'm on the clock and I can see the guy I want, and I'm worried he's going to be like. The difference between those two is just nothing to me. Hopkins, higher ceiling, Cooper, higher value. Like this is just a same position trade. That's not really. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you got the guy that you like, then you're good. Play Dynasty and move on. That's fine. But like, it's a trade, and that's fun. I encourage having fun in Dynasty, but I don't see a big edge either side. Just take your favorite guy, right?
Yeah,
Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. I don't like the age value curve. Don't get me wrong. But these are the guys, everyone, the big brains that get on the big social media. They're going to be saying, these are the guys that are going to frustrate me because everyone's going to be saying, your league mates are stupid. Trade them for first. They're going to be saying that in 3 months. and you can't do it now because they think that everyone else playing Dynasty is stupid, and you know they're not. Like, you can't get that now. And so the fact that it's both are in that category means it's big diff, you know. But that's what I'm reacting to. Sorry. Like, I hate that stuff. Like, get out of DeAndre Hopkins now. Too late. Like, if you're saying that, too late, you know. Sorry. I have had like 3 hours sleep in the last 48 hours, by the way. I feel like I'm coming off a little weird. I just want to throw out an excuse. And I wrote like a 5,000 word ranking article in that time. So I'm feeling a little off. Is my internet lagging this badly?
No, we're waiting for you to stop talking.
I would have rather traded a second to go get Hopkins rather than try to put something with Amari. Like, I don't think you gained anything by giving up Amari Cooper, getting Hopkins. You lost 2 years. You probably gained a few fantasy points this next year.
Assuming that Watson doesn't get better and the offense doesn't get better. Like,
same
position, same tier, and even the picks are completely interchangeable.
Too close, yeah.
Like, at this point, if you're happy, more power to you.
Yeah. Sorry, I said something. I'll stop. BJ Lee, the 108 and the 105. What could I get in a 1 QB league if he wants to trade both of them away or one or the other? I could also throw in Gabe Davis. I mean, do it. Keep Burks. Don't throw in Burks. What? With the picks. No, I would keep Burks right now. His value is awesome. I would trade 4 Burks rather than trade him away. Gabe Davis, the 108 and the 105. What are you aiming?
I walk away with a super solid high-end wide receiver too out of all 3 of those things. I'm kind of blanking on names, but
you'd be pretty close to Garrett Wilson doing that. 105, 108
in a 1 QB.
Yeah. I mean, I would give it a shot.
Oh, absolutely. Always give it a shot. Yeah.
But like that like Drake London, Garrett Wilson, a lot like that. And if not, pair the 105 and the 108 and move up to the 103 and get whichever guy you want out of whoever's left between Addison, Gibbs, and JSN. Like,
I was gonna say something like it depends where your league's at. If your league is in the mindset of what's currently on my timeline, which is this class isn't good actually and not deep, then it probably won't work. But if they still remember that this class is deep, and to be fair, in this class, we agree. So the 1-8 and the 8 and the 5 could get you 2 pretty solid players. But I'd rather go get a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. Like, put them together, go get a top 3 pick, just incremental. But if you get Garrett Wilson, get Garrett Wilson, sure. If you get DK Metcalf or Debo or Amon-Ra St. Brown for that, great. In some leagues, I don't think you'd be too far off. Like, but what am I looking at? January ADP. Wide receiver 9, Garrett Wilson, Metcalf 12, Devonta 14, Debo 16, Amon-Ra 6. But hell, aim high, man. Like, you know, they say no, you move down your list. That's the smart move, at least. You can start there and look for
go for ARSB and for Wilson. Someone says no, go for Olave or Metcalf. They say no, go for Devonta or Drake London. They say no, try for Debo. Try for maybe I'm done there. Yeah, then maybe you go for 103.
Yeah, I'd probably start with 103. Again, it depends where your league's at. I think the 103 is probably lower valued than Wilson or Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, if it's a pretty decent league. But that's a good way of going about it. You make your shopping list, as it were, and you just start sending out the offers. And go from one, go from the next. I think that's the process you should go for sure. But the way I would think about it is I'm putting them together, and you just want to get incrementally better, selling 2 things that could end up being pretty good players and try and get that player that's going to be in a tier above, even if they are pretty good players. Get one of your guys that's up there, because you're trading away the risk to try and get someone you're more certain of, hopefully slightly young, and a little more proven. That'll be. And throwing Gabe Davis isn't a bad way of going about it. Right now, we're not in a Gabe Davis high, but I mean, again, it's about what the person in your league feels. And Gabe Davis is like the perfect wide receiver 3, as Russ once said, which I stole from my article, by the way. And Jacoby Myers, I put them back to back. Like Gabe Davis and Jacoby Myers are like the perfect wide receiver 3 in my head with very different weekly upsides. But Jacoby Myers is drafted 14 spots below where I think he's decent.
If he only scored touchdowns more often,
it's really funny. I saw a tweet today because they just started up the best ball. Like best ball is flipped over, so people are drafting best ball. The guy said he's been in 10 drafts and he has not seen Jacoby Myers go later than 10 spots ahead of ADP. So right now the sharps are on
people
Jacoby
are liking
Myers.
him.
Well, this is degenerates. I mean, this is people drafting best ball in, where are we now? February? Like that's
he's
like, I love Jacoby Myers last season, and this season he did even better. Like his touchdown regression came back, and we're talking about everyone in the context of weak free agent class. Wasn't he on a 1-year deal this year? Like he's probably one of the better ones out.
He's a free agent. I can't remember if he's unrestricted or restricted though.
Give me Jacoby Myers over DJ Chark or Zay Jones or all those others that are looking for deals this offseason. But again, he's lower drafted in the NFL, like sniffing its own farts. So we'll see. But I think Jacoby Myers is really interesting. That was an aside and completely. Don't trade those picks for Jacoby Myers, by the way. That was an aside to your trade question. Like, but yeah. He would have been a better one to bring up during the buy low section. I'm really all over the place. Spock, 498, 104, 105, 108, or Fields.
104, 105, 108, or Fields. 12-team Superflex, start 9.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you knew.
No, I'm just reading it out loud to.
I'm trying to say fewer words.
What? Wait. Value is the picks, but wondering if this is when I need to adapt QB league, QB market.
right. He's saying that there's no other quarterbacks available. And so obviously he needs a quarterback.
Fields is, like, honestly, that's not 102 and 103 are unavailable as well.
Right.
I don't think giving up the 4, 5, and 8 is the worst thing in the world for Fields. See if you can get a second back, even if it's 24, just to make you feel a little better for the 3, giving up 3 first-round picks. But it's what Fields should be worth, especially when you're not giving a quarterback to them.
He's back-to-back with Lawrence right now. I mean, it's choose your preference. I would rather throw those at the Lawrence owner first before accepting, but it's a fair deal. 3 mid to 1 late first round picks for like a young, high potential quarterback. It's not terrible.
Okay, no,
I'd also try Lamar Jackson owner because his value is way too low, or the column if that's what you're trying to shop for. But if you're saying no one else is available, you've tried all those things. Yeah, this is solid.
No, I'm changing my answer. It's February. Wait. There's no reason to go and overspend right now. The rookie draft can come along. The guy with Kirk Cousins or Daniel Jones can draft Will Levis and think he's the greatest thing ever. And then all of a sudden, you have to give what is less than the value of the 108 to go get Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins. So again, if you like Fields has that upside and those picks aren't a bad price. But I would
there's no rush to do this deal, to be fair. So,
because when you draft, and if you draft Gibbs and JSN, like, you're going to get 2 out of 3 of Gibbs, JSN, and Addison, assuming those are you're going to get your choice of the RB2 and whoever the heck else you want. You can just grab Levis if he's probably going to get drafted 6th overall to the Colts. And some people might bump his value up to being at the top of rookie drafts for that, forgetting that no one's really super thrilled about him as a quarterback, but that's not the point. Like, I don't think you need to do this, especially because of what the market looks like right now, because your lineup doesn't matter for 7 more months. So if you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't matter right now. You just need to do what is best for value on your team. And I don't think you need to rush this. Plus, having those names on your roster to be able to be traded will also help the value of your team because you're getting those guys. But also, when you're on the clock with the 4 and the 5, you're going to see people want those picks. And all of a sudden, quarterbacks are going to become available because people want to choose their favorite wide receiver. Or somebody's going to think, I need a running back so bad on my team, so let me jump up to Greg Gibbs because I need a rookie to help me win the championship. You should never depend on rookies to win a championship. But people still think that. So don't rush to do this, but it's still not bad if you want to go and do it.
If you're trying to win, you don't want Americans. Yeah, a couple things. Bryce Young might not be the 103 this year because that size narrative really does get in people's heads. That's why I'm frustrated, is because I know it's going to be a thing. It's people talking about Lamar Jackson. Was it Lamar Jackson they wanted to try out as wide receiver or some stupid thing that's clearly from some level of stupid ass bias? And you suddenly find that quarterback falling in your rookie draft. So that's another reason you can wait on these picks, because maybe the 4 gets you one or the 5. And the other thing is, right now, if you're looking for quarterbacks, and you said there's probably none available, but the quarterbacks I target are like Mac Jones, like we've mentioned. I think Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. There might be softness in those values. Or this, like Russ is saying, this is the value of Fields in 3 months. So, like, you can trade it later. And we really don't know how this rookie class or ADP is going to go. So, yeah, I think he's right to say there's no real rush. Yeah. Finish sentence. Should I start doing that? No? Oh, okay.
Pretend you're on a walkie-talkie.
Pat Rick. Nice. 12-team Superflex. How should I approach buying a rebuild QB? Okay. He's only got Carr, Breece Hall, Najee, and CeeDee Lamb. Hawkinson at tight end. It's a good question. If you're doing a rebuild, presuming it's in a Superflex. First thing to say is, in a rebuild, I don't think about positions. It's just value. Like I'm just turn everything into, do I have more value than I did before this trade? And positions start mattering even less. But if I am going to focus on a super flex, it'll be on starting at quarterback. So it's a fair question. And if it's a 4, that doesn't look like a terrible rebuild, like a complete rebuild. If in a 12-team league you've got Breece Hall, Najee Harris, and CeeDee Lamb, and a Hawkinson, Carr is a fine quarterback too. I think he's going to get signed somewhere.
He's going to get signed. Well, now he also gets to choose where he's going to get signed.
Yeah,
that's not a complete rebuild, but if you want to approach it that way, like all of those things are for sale, and you go try and draft a rookie quarterback, you try and get the values that I just mentioned at quarterback. Lamar Jackson's too low, Kyler Murray's too low. Try and add a very cheap Mac Jones just to stock up, and I approach it that way. So yeah. Any better direct? Because I didn't give him a clear direction, just a general theme. He's got the one. I assume that's the 110, the 18, or is that?
I think it's the 101.
See, this isn't a rebuild to me. Breece, Najee, you can pick up Bijan Robinson. You just need a quarterback, and you've got like a stud starting lineup. That doesn't seem like a rebuild.
Yeah, I'm also okay. Wait, what's /DBL first and seconds? Oh, double first and seconds in 24 and 25.
Right, so 2 firsts and 24, 2 firsts and
25.
Yeah,
you could make trades now, assuming that is the 101 because that's the order you put it in also. You take Bijan, you walk out there with Breece, Najee, and Bijan, CeeDee Lamb, and then you take the 108 and 112, either trade up to go get one of the young wide receivers in this draft, or, again, like we were saying before, find a list of guys you like, start at the most expensive and go down, and you have 24 and 25 picks to deal with. This can
I would keep them as well in a super flex
next season. Like
in a super flex,
that's you get the right guys. Yeah,
that would be my backup plan in a super flex rebuild. Like 24 and 25 is probably going to be a pretty good quarterback era, one or the other, both of them actually. And And so you can start trying to trade value to get discount QBs like Mac Jones or elite QBs like Lamar Jackson that is trading at slightly lower value. And you can even trade one of those running backs, and assuming the 101 is a running back, and still have 2 stub running backs, a good wide receiver 1, a good tight end 1. Like, you can really compete, and you've got those future firsts. Like, that seems like a solid plan.
Yeah, I don't think you need to rebuild. I think you can do whatever the heck you want and still be okay.
Oh, yeah. I think you got a lot of directions, and that's a problem when I stare at my roster. I'm like, I want to do this, but
that's when
I think you just have to fish around in your league. If you can't find a good trade for one of those quarterbacks, like Russ said, make a shopping list. Then you just play it. There's no rush. It's the off season, and if you're in a real build mode mentality, then you can slow play it. Like, Brees will get healthy. Najee will start putting up points again next season, and you can flip them then if you can't get good trades for them now. So the most frustrating part about Dynasty is sometimes the answer is, if you're not getting any bites, just wait, because you can. I really do think time will come. So, don't make a bad trade just because you can't get any trade, kind of a thing. Ryan, traded Gabe Davis on the 204th, and do I say this right? Michi?
Yeah, John Mechie.
And the 202, half-point PPR, 1 QB, looking for upside.
Gabe Davis is the upside.
Yeah.
204 and the 202 has no difference whatsoever, because it's going to be most likely a very large tier right there. So you gave up what I've been calling like the best low-end wide receiver to have on your team. And don't get me wrong, I want Mechie to get healthy and come in and be the best wide receiver in the world. But
I wasn't too high on him as a prospect, so, and I'm not dinging him for the health concerns. It's just that Gabe Davis is probably better fantasy
and on a better offense already. And we are owed nothing, but we haven't heard a thing about Mechie's health. So sorry.
Well, and I think that you hear the buzzword upside, and you think, okay, lottery ticket, but this is walking into a casino and taking your $100 that you earmarked to spend in that casino, going to the roulette wheel and putting it on 00 and letting it ride.
That's actually a good. Yeah, you've gone all in on this. Very unlikely to be up. Yeah.
Well, no, because he did move up 2 spots. So he cashed it out for $5 chips, put down 95, and then just put the 5 in his pocket.
That's a good idea. The 5 just here.
Just so I don't leave with nothing.
Yeah, you can get a fountain drink, unlimited fountain drink at the buffet. You're good.
Good day. Had a good day. Boxy. In the 12-team Superflex League, I bought Burrow for Love, the 103, the 107, and the 203.
Good for you.
How do you think I did?
Yeah.
It's great.
I don't know why I said that accusingly. I still have the 102, the 105. Yeah. Good move.
If anything, good for you for getting away with not having to make it the 102 instead of the 103. I don't know how you like that is great, because I know in any of my leagues, even if I got to an agreement where I said I won't give up both the 102 and 103, it would have had to have been the 102 and 104. Like, there's good for you. Very much good for you. Love it.
Scapegoat. 12-team Superflex, half-point PPR. Trade Judy and the 306. Just a caveat, because I can't stop using words today. I think Judy's on our too low list, which means it has to be a pretty good thing that you're getting for us to like it. Not that it's necessarily bad, but we think it's a little undervalued. Judy and the 306 in 2023 to get McLaurin and the 205 in 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, you've moved up half a round for... Yeah, actually, you did pretty well.
I
moved up a full round.
A lot of people that probably have Judy and McLaurin interchangeable. So the fact that you went up a round is pretty great. I do prefer Judy to McLaurin, and that's 2 players I'm super biased on. So it's really tough for me to say that. But yeah, no, I think you did good, though. I think getting that extra round is worth it. It was good.
You've moved up for a round and just moved across a player. So I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, Russ, update on Mechie. Nick Casario about 3 weeks ago, and I missed this, said that he thinks there's a chance that Mechie will be ready to start the off-season program.
That would be
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
that is, yes. Thank you.
It's good to hear. Because presumably that means he's doing pretty well.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Yep.
Caleb Leonard spent $20. I guess we can all have fountain drinks on Caleb. I really appreciate you, Caleb. Thanks very much. We don't know where that money goes, and I'm not being facetious. I don't know. But it's either going to DLF or me, and I'll buy everyone fountain drinks. I appreciate it. Hi, guys. For a fun startup happening tomorrow, 14-team Superflex ID, auction, and salary, draft, and contract years, plus $300 buy-in. That's a heavy league for me. That would be. By far the most expensive league I'm in, and want your advice. Want any advice you have going into the startup. Love the show. Really appreciate it, Caleb, and good luck. That's more expensive than any league that I'm in right now. For $300 buy-in, we need Joe. Is Joe around? Joe.
Joe. She does the high stuff.
She plays.
I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, no. All of my leagues are definitely more than $300, but it takes a lot to get there.
Is ID like IDP? Because I'm in a lot of trouble if it's that, Caleb. Like if we're just talking about 14-team Superflex auction.
I've got things, but yeah. I can give you generic, well, not generic, Superflex advice. If it's IDP, talk to Tom Kissenberry, especially for this level of league. Like, you need to know who Tom is. Even if you know everything, like, you guys can have fun conversations. He knows IDP. He knows ball and that side of the ball, and I cannot help you at all.
Even I get interested. This level of league. I hate IDP. I've tried it. It's not my thing. I still get interested reading his threads when he.
I know his data is actually just as a spreadsheet guy, and he's a spreadsheet guy too. Very few of us out here who use data and don't code. So Tom is like the goat at that. He does better at spreadsheets than me. He's pretty awesome because his are understandable to everyone else. Mine are chaotic and messy.
But they wouldn't be
14-team Superflex. The first thing that stands out to me that 14 is an above average league size. I normally think in 12-team leagues, and that has a direct effect on how I want to play the draft. In 14-team league, Russ, what does that do?
Quarterbacks are going to be more expensive. Usually, you are going to, if you have the ability to nominate as much as you want, get every expensive quarterback out there fast and let everyone else spend their money. Because Mahomes will end up going for close to 50% of someone's budget. Like, he will. I've seen it. I've seen it. So, and then you slow play and you get your guys that are going to score points and are like somewhat young. Don't sit back and watch what everyone is doing on the board before you do anything. Holy crap. I decided John Bosch asked me to co-manage a team with him, and there ended up being a dispersal of about 15 players. So it was pretty much a startup draft. And he literally messaged me every single thought that went into that auction strategy with John Bosch.
That was going to be my advice. Go to your podcast app, type in John Bosch auction, and then go listen, Caleb, for whatever time you have.
I was going to say, like,
I told John, I was going to say, because I would grind mock drafts. I know a website where you can just do it against a computer or against other people, and you really want to have a good idea of what you like where, so you know how you want your team to shape up, because you need to adapt. 14-team league, depth becomes more of a thing, but fantasy players, especially in Dynasty, lean towards depth, and so you can always zag straight to studs. But 14, that's part of the thing that the 14 team does as well. Like, there are fewer starters available because more starters every week are going out because there are more teams. So I was going to point that out as well. But let's finish thoughts.
I told John that, like, I wish I wasn't lazy and I would go in and scrub names and try to make it evergreen sounding, and instead of talking about the specific board, because it was brilliant. Like, I did not realize half of what goes into auctions, which also explains why I've been so bad at them. They're a lot of work to be good at them, and the team we walked away with, and again, I did absolutely nothing. I watched John do this, and we walked away with like one of the greatest teams I've ever had. Like it's
very good.
So go listen to those, because I'm going to assume a lot of the news is this. A lot of what he said is pretty much the same. In that, yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm doing, but that, yeah.
And John is good at it because he does a lot of work on it. He does a lot of auctions, but also, having met the man and talked to him a lot about different things, he basically thinks in game theory. I don't know if he calls it that, but he thinks about game theory. And the reason that works for auctions in Dynasty, again, Dynasty is about replacing the draft because you can't do it in the future. And John literally just goes straight to the number of ways this could be best for me or worst for me in terms of doing that. Who's going to go up in value? Who's going to go down in value? He practices. The only thing I see him doing every year, apart from raising epic amounts for charity and running the Eliminator Leagues, is he tries to rank players what they're going to be in a year. That's a good exercise to do, Caleb, before you go into this type of draft, because you're looking to still be able to do things with your team at high value in a year, because it's a dynasty and it's a high value one, so you want to be careful of it as well. But think game theory, think value, which is where the quarterback thing that Russ mentioned came in. Like we were just talking about with someone else, the reason that quarterback is so important in the Superflex, especially in a 14 team, is it's like land. It might be made of dirt, but they're not making any more of it. And quarterbacks tend to come in a big bundle like they have recently, and everyone expects more, when really they kind of wave. You get 3 in one draft and then none in the next 3 that are worth anything. You get Jameis and Winston, and then you get Burrow and Herbert and Hurts all at one go. And so they can be difficult to replace, even at the top level. Even at the mediocre level as well. So you just kind of want to... I've seen John do that in so many drafts and auctions as well. He just stockpiles QBs. And eventually he's like an anaconda. Like, I go in thinking, you're not going to make me fall for that, John. And then 2 years in, he's like, he's wrapped around you fully. And you're like, do you want a quarterback, Pete? Just cost you 4 first-round picks for Daniel Jones. And eventually end up paying it.
He's like, I'm not going to fall for that. Dude, you fell for it 2 years ago. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, yeah, I already got you. He's just slowly encircling you because he's just playing the value. And
what is Tom's... It's just at Tom Kislingberry, right? Is that his handle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just type in Tom K and he comes up for me. But
yeah, let me search.
At Tom Kislingberry, TOM,
and it's spelled like it sounds.
ISLING.
Kislingberry.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, check him out for IDP. Check John, especially if they recently did a podcast on it, because he talks about it here and there. I've never seen him do a whole show on it, and yeah, that would be definitely check it out. So yeah, I think that's the best thing I can start you off with. Well, Zach and Russ started you off with, and I just kind of interrupted them occasionally. But good luck, Caleb. Let us know how it goes, and always come back. I'm happy to talk about it. Scapegoat. My other notable wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, Bateman.
We answered something from him before, so maybe this is like there was just space in between. But regardless of what it was, I don't really think it matters. When we talk value, it has nothing to do with what's on the rest of your roster anyway. But I like having Garrett Wilson on my teams.
Yeah, this trade's great.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
B-Dags. What do you think about trading Hopkins and Roschon Johnson?
Question.
Oh, yeah, I know him. For Dawson. I like it.
Who's Roschon Johnson?
Texas running back. The other Texas running back. So you know Bijan, right? There was another guy.
Oh, so
on that team.
It's like a Devy thing, I'm guessing.
Either Devy or
in the league already.
They may have had their rookie draft, or who knows? Like that could happen. There are crazy leagues, Russ, where rookie drafts happen before the NFL draft.
Who would ever?
I know it's wild.
Like that.
But so like he could have Roschon Johnson. I mean, he could be
Is that?
But yes, he is a rookie. He's not in the NFL yet.
I have to assume, like, have you watched him, Zach?
I have watched half of him, Russ. So,
So-
no,
Which
I don't have
half,
a.
top or bottom.
I don't.
Sorry.
That's really what it comes down to. Is he like a third round? Like, if you're watching him this late into your running backs?
He's no. So we watch the first 12 guys we watch are
you do
based
like
on
DLF.
DLF rankings, and then we watch other guys that we want, or then we talk about other guys that we want to watch. So I have to make sure that I watch the 12 DLF guys. But like Roshan Johnson is interesting. He was a quarterback coming into Texas.
Oh, so he's pretty much Jet McKinnon, and I love him as well.
Oh, so yeah. So listen to this. So he was a quarterback. He came in. They had Sam Ellinger, and so they were like, "Well, our running back got hurt. Can you play running back?" And he was like, "Yeah, let me try." And so he did that as a freshman. He got 123 carries, had 600 yards, and 23 receptions. So you're like, great. And then Bijan Robinson comes in. And so he basically was like the spell back. So he had like 80 carries, 90 carries, 90 carries, was still a pretty good receiver coming out of, and let me see if I can find his statistics. Coming out of high school, he passed for 7,700 yards, ran for 4,900 yards, and accounted for 85 touchdowns as a quarterback coming into Texas.
See, the real mistake was Texas should have been like, "You're a quarterback. Our quarterback is Sam Ellinger, so you're now our quarterback."
Yeah,
like that's what should have happened.
So it's interesting because again, he's only been a running back for 4 years, and he's been behind Bijan Robinson for 3 years. So it's
a little difficult.
Yeah, so this is a wonderful combination of Jet McKinnon and Miles Sanders, and I am all in.
Yeah,
and he seems to have a lot of talent. We don't know how it's going to shake out.
Yeah.
Okay, but with all of that in perspective, Hopkins being what he is, if your thoughts are Roshan being second half of the second round, or lower, I'm still fine moving that for Dotson.
For Dotson, yeah. I think Dotson's probably got the lowest upside of anyone here, but he's also got a fairly safe floor. He's going to be a decent NFL wide receiver. He's going to show up again.
So looking at this through the Russ lens, it'll be easier to trade Dotson than it will be to trade any of the other players in this trade. So you might as well get Dotson and then turn around and move him for something that you really want.
Yeah, you'll use him in a package to 2-for-1 to someone else.
Yeah.
You'll be able to better your team.
Ben 15110. 10-team 2 QB have Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, Sam Howell, Winston on my bench. The 102, the 103, the 106, the 112. Do I work the board, taking Gibbs and JSN, and then one of the QBs at 106? Well, for a start, don't plan your draft. Let's just see how it goes. Like you never know, but yeah, if you want a rough sketch, I think the two QB lead. No, I think you just take both Right now, where my head would be at is I'm taking both quarterbacks and then probably Gibbs at 6. Like, you take the best player.
In a quarterbacks are more value in two quarterbacks than they are in Superflex, because Superflex, when someone gets injured, someone has a bye week, you can put in someone else, but like you're getting zeros if you don't have a third quarterback. You will account for somewhere between 4 to 6 starting quarterbacks on your teams if you take Young and Stroud. That's a position you want to be in.
I would consider adding the 3 and the 12 to get the 101.
That sounds like
there are moves you can make here.
If the rest of your team is good,
other than that,
I love
take the best players.
Yeah.
It does suck not telling you to just draft the Jedi JSN, but try, but make moves to get that pick. Don't try and game plan your draft around what you want.
Yeah, if anything, like you could just find out who has the 104 and just be like, you need a quarterback, throw me a second, and you can move up. I'll move back just one, and then you walk into JSN and you got a second for it, for someone you wanted to draft anyway.
Do the receivers who play for New England in 2023 dictate the Mac Jones results? The wide receiver room is pretty weak. Hey, you watch that Jacoby Myers slander.
He's
all
not
right?
in their wide receiver room right now.
But to be fair, that's a New England room thing until they're Wes Welker and Julian Edelman, and then apparently they're great. Even though they do the same thing, not quite the same thing. I don't know what happened this year with New England. I think Mac
They
Jones
didn't
really
have an
solid.
offensive
He's
coordinator.
That's because I don't pay attention to that. That's a fine reason why I don't know what happened, but I can't pretend to know it. But he should have been better than this year. He wasn't. I don't think the skill went anywhere. I don't think he's Patrick Mahomes, but I think he's very competent, and I think the team will keep working to use that competency to have better than what his current value is. There's a connection between quarterback and wide receiver, but like Russ is, Zach is going to explain the stuff that I don't know because I don't want to care about coaches. There are other factors that go into that, and it's very likely that. I don't think Mac Jones is bad. I don't think Jacoby Myers is bad. I think the two of them together alone, I think that team was perfectly capable of doing better this year based on the players they had, to answer your question. I think the problem is more to the stuff that I don't pay attention to, like Zach saying the offensive coordinator sucked or
Peter,
didn't exist.
Imagine, if you will, you are the quarterback of the New England Patriots. You've got a 24-second play clock. At 8 seconds left on the play clock, the offensive coordinator says, okay, here's the play. These 4 receivers are not going to get open. Go. And then you have to go and run that play. That's what Mac Jones did for 17 games this year. He didn't do it for 17, for like 12, because Bailey Zappi did it for a couple. And when Bailey Zappi came in, they were just like, yeah, why don't you throw it deep? And he did. But
we couldn't do it for our first guy. We're not doing just go whatever, man.
No. So it should be different. I do expect them to add at least a receiver because they're going to lose at least a receiver. They have to do something. And they've got a decent amount of cap space. I think they're 7th right now. Like looking to the 2023 season, they're like 7th most cap space. So
that's nice.
Yeah, they've got a chance to move around. I feel like I follow Pat's cap. They've got about $34 million under the cap. So they should do something. I do think, yes, receivers help the quarterback. This is the raging debate between Peter and Jacob Rickroad, whether quarterbacks control things, whether receivers control things, and the answer is yes. They're symbiotic. I think they will probably add a receiver. Adding a receiver will help. Adding an offensive coordinator will help. And having Mac Jones back healthy with an offensive coordinator and a receiver should put him back around where he was before. I don't expect him to be a top 12 quarterback, but he should be a top 16 quarterback.
Okay, I'm done. Yeah, you said imagine being the New England quarterback, and ever since you said that sentence, I've just been imagining how I would start a Twitter beef with Tom Brady. So could you go back over everything else you've said? Like I would fully be like, hey, pretty cool being the New England quarterback. Like I don't know how I'd get at him, but I'll be getting in those mentions. That would be my plan. What were you saying?
That was pretty much it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That and planning which beach home to buy because I'm not spending the summer or the winter in New England. Like, screw that.
Yeah, who would ever want to do that?
Absolutely.
NGG, 10 team, 2 QB, a lot of different point aspects, including one completion. Okay. It feels like this is a follow-on from something.
Ooh, that is fancy quarterback scoring.
This is fantasy. Not fantasy, fancy quarterback scoring.
Yes, fancy.
1 point per completion, minus 1 point incompletion.
Yep.
0.5 points per carry. That's an interesting scoring system.
That's a lot.
1 PPR,
right.
No tight end premium, which is excellent. Already have Devontae, Olave, Judy. Is AJ Brown, Danny Jones for Lamar Jackson, Rashad White, and Muth crazy? First blush, yes.
First of all, you don't want.
Let me
okay, you don't want Daniel Jones or Lamar in.
Yeah, you want. Yeah.
You want to.
I mean,
you need to find the most efficient quarterbacks in the league and just go after them.
But the half point per carry is nice.
I was
Oh,
thinking of the
Lamar,
half point per
really does.
carry. Yeah.
Man, Daniel Jones probably gets you just as much as Lamar does.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know that I do this for Rashad White and Muth.
Yeah, no, the more no tight end premium even. Not going to look at any stats right now because I'm way too lazy to try and find those. But I have to imagine rushing attempts per game was not that different between Daniel Jones and Lamar Jackson. And to give up AJ Brown for, I mean, you want.
I think
Rashad
Daniel
White to
Jones
be the
hurts
thing,
you in
but-
that scoring system a lot more than Lamar Jackson. I don't know the numbers, but just run it like Daniel Jones has to be punishing you every week with incompletions. Lamar Jackson doesn't pass a lot, but he passes much more efficient.
Daniel Jones has been a 64%
This year.
No, over his career, he's been 64%.
No, we just
He fumbles a lot.
Someone who turns the ball over a lot,
okay.
but it's usually also because he fumbles.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't this year, but he used to fumble a lot.
I thought it was more inaccurate than that. All right.
Well, he also look at the players he's throwing to. You know, hopefully they fix that a bit, and that'll help more. But also the same for Lamar. Hopefully Bateman comes back, he gets healthy. They'll have a much better run offense when finally Greg Roman's gone. So I think both of them will probably do a little better. But I'd be fine riding Daniel Jones, especially if it means not losing Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown's probably the gold in this trade.
Yeah.
I said Antonio Brown.
Kyler
AJ
Murray. I want rid of Daniel Jones, though. I don't think there's long-term upside there. I don't care.
I'm fine with Daniel
So
Jones.
maybe Kyler Murray is a better target. But yeah, it's AJ Brown's side probably. But that's rough.
You just
I hate rooting for like underappreciated players. Okay, I just like elite things. Okay?
Peter wants
Daniel Jones
Rashad
is too
White
good.
and Muth, and like he just can't.
Lamar,
He just can't help
typically.
it.
Needs
I
to find a
want
way to
Muth
work that in.
True.
Yeah.
But no, I just like Lamar Jackson.
I mean, I am with you. I
Whatever.
think Lamar Jackson is fantastic, but
Yeah, see, the thing is, that's what I'm trying to figure out. If Lamar Jackson's still Lamar Jackson on the scoring side, like that's the side that I. But I think you're right. I
0.5
think
per
so.
carry is gross. I can't even
That's-
imagine.
you
that.
should trade everybody for running backs.
Yeah. You should 2 running quarterbacks, 1 wide receiver, and it be like Debo Samuel, and then running backs.
Who's your quarterback this week? Rashawn Johnson. He's got the dual designation.
Yep.
That's what I'm going for. Sean, 12-team Superflex got Kyler the 110 for the 103, Goff and the 209. Got Kyler on the 110 for the 103, Goff. Yes, yeah, good. I like this. Yeah.
See,
That's-
this usually happens without getting the 110 back, so you did
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Sean, 5'8", 185 pounds. Yikes. I'll have you know I'm over 6 foot tall. Sean, different league, 12-team Superflex. Kyler and Sutton for Cousins and Jacobs.
Kyler. Well, no, I mean, like, if you want to go score
Yeah,
points, Cousins and Jacobs is a really good combination to go after, but value, I get it. Value is super weird for Kyler right now, but this feels...
I mean, probably trade Sutton, but yes, Kyler side.
This feels low for Kyler, but also, if you just want to get out, whatever, man. Like, I don't think this is egregiously terrible, but
Yeah,
I
it's
still
just
think it's Kyler's side.
it's like how many points are going to score next week? None. Cool. So it's all even. Like that's where
Well,
my mind
we
went.
know
to. It's just
Kyler's
Kyler.
missing games, so
Yeah,
it
but
matters
like
a bit.
there's not a lot of time between anyone scoring. Yeah, but I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah. The pound. Nice. Drop the likes for the fellas. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. NGG. Brees is a better pure skills and decision-making prospect than Kyler was. Really, that's interesting. If he has a line and receiving targets, he can stay safe by getting the ball out. Again,
I'll wait for
for
Zach
me,
to
it's
tell
about
me
how
which
they
is.
play at the size they are. And I don't know those things, but if they're effective in college and the NFL thinks they can be effective in the NFL, I tend to believe it. And he was effective in college. I know that much. So it's about what the NFL thinks, you know? But I really appreciate your opinion because, again, I need all the quarterback opinions I can get. Chevini. Dante Culpepper was a huge QB, but his career was ended by injuries too. Yeah,
I mean,
big
it's-
QB.
Yeah,
If you're in the NFL, you can get injured. Like the people exist.
You'll get injured.
That's literally half. Like they yeah. It's at a certain point, there's no one that can't be injured. Unfortunately, obviously, Bryce Young's size isn't ideal, but I don't plan on fading him completely. I'm more than willing to play it by ear. You know,
all I know is that I hope Mina Kimes was wearing heels in that picture because that's Bryce Young, and Mina's not exactly tall.
She's tiny. No.
She's.
Are you concerned about it, or is that just fun?
No, it's just for laughs.
Okay. NGG and Dante's hands were tiny.
Joe Burrow had tiny hands too.
Joe Burrow, he'll never make it in cold weather.
His name just literally jumped out my head, but he can't throw a spiral. And yeah, Drew Brees is tiny, and Russell Wilson will never be able to see over the line. And Patrick Mahomes was a system QB in college, and Josh Allen can't become more efficient. That's one I went with.
Drew Brees literally threw on his tippy toes. Which
it's about how they play with what they got. If you can throw like Drew Brees on your tippy toes, you're good.
A decade of this man's career, I laughed every time I watched him throw the ball. Like he planted his feet and then lifted himself up. It was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, one of the most efficient quarterbacks ever.
Yeah,
on your tippy toes. I mean, if you're good enough, you're good enough. You know, Andrew Luck and Cam Newton were built like tanks. Seriously,
if this is
Sorry, I know, yeah, but I always forget that because they came out at the same time, and Andrew Luck wasn't there. And then you'd see their like measurements, like, God damn, Andrew Luck is literally almost 1-for-1 Cam Newton size. You always think of one as a giant, and it's like, wow, that Andrew Luck, God bless. NGG, true. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to listen in. Cypher, love you guys. 10-team Dynasty Superflex PPR start 11. Would you trade Lamar and Lockett for Deshaun and Burks? Russ would not. No. That's just have it out there. I like getting Burks for Lockett. That's good value.
I'd still rather have Lamar.
Just keep Lamar, I think. Yeah. But I get the idea. Yeah. Randy Wyatt, when I was...
I'm saying I don't see the value of that trade.
Yeah. And you don't? Well, you're buying back years and probably Lockett's highest up.
Yeah, but your
upside is Lockett's highest.
You have to be lower on Lamar and very high on what Deshaun Watson can be to make that trade for Lockett to Burks.
I know. I mean, every time I try and do that, you point out that like Deshaun Watson's at least a top 5 talent-wise, even
talent-wise. Well, 3 years ago he has the upside of being a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
But we still need.
That's normally where I lead. I think Lamar Jackson's top 5 and Watson's top 12, and then everyone reminds me like, no, he was top 5.
No, like you cannot just, you can't just say, oh, he's going to come back and be what he was. You don't know that. Like being away from, even just working out and practicing isn't the same as playing in a game. Like it. If he does get back to what he was, it could also take years to do that. Like it's not easy. So like
it's super easy. You just got to be tall. It's fine. No, I took Lamar Jackson's side, but it's good that we agree. Randy Wyatt, when I was watching tape on Quentin Johnson, someone I really want to look into closer before I have an opinion on him, by the way, I saw too many catches with his body. It's actually something I've heard before. Not that it weighs with me, but
not when he was mossing people in the end zone and reaching over the defender's body and then pulling the ball.
I mean, it's just really how many times you moss someone. That's all that matters. Am I seeing things that aren't there?
Well, I've seen for him, so I love talking about it.
So my last sentence in my paragraph of negative things about Quentin Johnston is his strength on high points is tremendous, but Johnston is prone to letting the ball travel in on his body. And also ball security issues raise their head once he shifts his focus to creating yards after the catch. NFL defenders will punch the ball out if he continues to be cavalier with the rock. So, like, no, you are seeing that, Randy, but there are so many other things that he does well that I don't believe that that's going to be a deterrent in terms of where he gets taken and how he will be used. I think it's good. He's not DK Metcalf, but he's in that vein of really big, really fast, really strong defenders who can go down the field, beat teams over the top, and create separation with that size speed. So he's not just creating vertical separation, which I think gets guys in trouble translating from college to the NFL. I think you're seeing him create separation on the field between him and a defender, not just the fact that he can go up higher than a defender, which is he's not in the tier of Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jordan Addison for me, but he's in the next tier down, and I think that he has potential to be a really solid player. My summation is it's rare to land a whale, but there's no question that Quentin Johnston has the skills and NFL potential to make a splash wherever he lands. Johnston, he will have to continue to rely heavily on big plays because his game doesn't necessarily translate to high volume. It'll be interesting to see how he ascends or if he's just a fluke. That's a whale joke for you. What's up, Luke?
And we're ending the stream on that one. That was too good. Now, walking a similar line, I think Quentin Johnson fits the bill of what everyone wants every wide receiver to be. He did well, but I'm teetering between. There are some questions, not red flags, just questions, like to be as dominant in opportunity and yet not be well above average in before. It's weird. His caught percentage is slightly low for his ADOT and slot, stuff like that. The reason I'm playing hesitant is I think because this is a bad season comp, but he's the most Jamar Chase role-like in this class who's actually good. I think everyone's going to be like, oh, it's a wide receiver one, just because they don't want someone like Addison or JSN to be the wide receiver one. And that to me is like, I will be out on that. And that's why I want to look at him a little bit, just to be safe. Because I think
I would be out on that
good.
too, Pete.
It's fully good. Yeah, I know. But that's the thing. We're walking a similar line, but where I can't answer some of the questions you have answered for yourself, I'm like, he's good. But the buzz I hear, I go straight to the value. And it's an
well, I mean, you're seeing a guy who no, but you're seeing a player who I can't remember the exact stats, and I'd have to look it up. But it's something like 40% of his routes run were 9 routes. So of course he's got a 50% catch rate because he's going 40 yards down the field on half of his throws.
No, I mean relative to other people running, but again, it's not bad. The core percentage has zero correlation. It's just I have enough questions to go.
The only guy who ran 9 routes at the rate that he did was the guy out of Tennessee, whose name escapes me right now, but Hyatt. I will come up with Jalen Hyatt. And Jalen Hyatt is like
the other guy who's
like, I need to get into the stream now.
Jalen Hyatt's like a 4.3 40-yard. Like, he's going to be fast.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
But he's the only other player who ran that like 9 routes at the rate that Quentin Johnston did.
Okay. Cool. Jesse Fresh, do people think Levis is actually a good pick?
Those people
I don't know what
are
people think. I think some do. Yeah.
The Indianapolis front office.
Indianapolis seems to think it is, yeah.
Again, I think maybe, and there's not a lot past the 2, so maybe is probably going to be a little overvalued. Yeah.
Well, and it's if you listen to Peter and Travis May talk on his Crossroads, Dynasty Crossroads, at the last 3 episodes, but the last one, Travis said this is really going to be a litmus test. The Will Levis is going to be a litmus test for the NFL, because last year we saw the NFL actually realize that taking a bad quarterback with a high pick is not a great move, even if you need a quarterback. And so they didn't, except for Pittsburgh. And this will be interesting to see if Levis goes and Anthony Richardson, frankly, if they go highly. Because they're not the same level of prospect as the players who should, frankly, be drafted up there.
And yeah, he said the NFL would be analytics would be set back 10 years with Levis, and he said 20 years for Richardson.
So somebody's going to trade up to the 101 to take Levis. Then that'll happen just to set analytics back.
That'll happen.
Again, we're rooting for the kid, and he was pretty decent. Like, if you put him in the conversation with Kenny Pickett, I'd be like, yeah, Jake could probably run an offense, fine. And yes, that's probably going to be overvalued this year. Dalton Kincaid all day. I do know that name, but
I don't know who that is.
I think it's
SZN. He made a nice catch recently.
Oh, nice.
Good for him.
Good for him. I mean, was it one-handed?
It was on the sideline. Does that count?
That counts. He's good.
It does count.
Shavini, how about Michael Meyer in tight end premium? He's got to be a mid-late first in that format, doesn't he?
He'll be especially in tight end premium leagues. That doesn't mean you should, but that is absolutely where he will be. But Zach has always been on record saying it doesn't matter. He's just not taking a tight end in the first.
Yeah.
I think right now the tight end middle class is obtainable for a mid to late first, and I'd rather get them than the rookie in general. But that's probably where it's going to be taken to, as Russ said. I suppose Dalton Kincaid and Luke Musgrave will be available in this. Yeah, a second would be a reach probably right now, at least based on where we currently are. And both are pretty decent prospects. I don't see anyone that lights my hair on fire or anything. Like, I gotta have Trey McBride. See how well that worked out.
Wait,
again, tight end is kind of like that. I tend to wait. Yeah. Sometimes you just read a Google spreadsheet and it's just that's why it always looks like this.
Zach saw a really good one a long time ago.
Yeah.
Tight ends are
it's like George Kittle.
That the ones that hit with profiles like that, like you can wait until after the first season and then get interested. But I mean, yeah, if you're talking an early third round pick, I like taking shots at tight end and running back, especially after my big rookie targets are gone, just because that's where a lot of difference makers come from, because we project them worse than we should or do, or on average, something like that. Sampo Fido, nice. Tucker dropping in rankings for many analysts. Some NFL mock drafts have him midday 3. Tucker.
Sean Tucker, the guy we talked about for 10 minutes. Yeah, Syracuse.
Right.
Syracuse.
Nah, you got to say both names or it's too generic. Sean Tucker. Okay, sure, gotcha. Yeah, if he's projected up there because PFF thinks he's Saquon Barkley or whatnot, he's definitely got a disappointment type. But I think he's solid. Watson great in the Burks. Oh, false. Yeah, that thread that will not stop on my timeline. I disagree. But yeah, nice to see you, man. And thanks for the $2. And they've been going back and forth. I've been trying to chip in, but I got no more to add. I don't think I have more to add. I understand so few things. About per game and usage rates for Watson. Watson had a really good rookie season. It's just I try not to make more out of it than I know, if you know what I mean. Drampian, I refuse. I'm not going to say it. It's Drampian. That's what
aren't you going to say?
Drampian.
The doctor's in.
I had to try.
Kidding me? Idiot like me doesn't fall for that. You know, look over there. Hey guys, would you be trying to move on from Mixon right now? I mean, good luck. Yeah, if I can get something for him, I would get it. If so, what would you look? If I can get a mid-second round rookie pick, I think I've gotten a pretty good trade for him right now. Right? I mean, whether you think that's fair or not, what do you think you're actually getting trade?
I would rather eat him for a mid-second.
I would settle for a 2-1, on the clock, super flex. If I just want him off my team, I probably would settle for just getting young and starting over. But I need to be there and see that there's someone I want, unless I feel strong enough that I can move the pick. And
the answer is probably I package him to get something that I actually want.
Yeah, but moving Mixon, you need such a specific person to want Mixon right now.
Not really. He's just a running back with points, I think.
Well, you're hoping he's a running back with points. I mean, I know he was like he.
I'm
Was
the
good
one who
last
just
year.
got told I was valuing him too low. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's the answer. You add him to something and move up. Try and tear up into a higher first round pick. Add Mixon to your first round pick to go up. That kind of system. Randy, Zach, when scouting Richardson, make a note to watch how he misses. His passing isn't as bad as you think. I could be wrong, but after scouting him, that's what I came away with thinking.
I will watch him, Randy, but it'll be another couple of weeks. We'll have a discussion, but it'll be a little bit because I got some players that I can actually evaluate before I get to quarterback, who are basically quarterbacks. You're going, okay, this is how I like them. This is like the order I like them. What does the NFL think? And then when the NFL drafts players, you're just like, this is what I think. Well, no, I mean, not quite that. If I like guys and the NFL likes them, that's good. If I don't like guys and the NFL likes them, I still don't like them. If I like a guy and the NFL doesn't like him, I don't like him anymore because it just doesn't work. Like, really.
It's relative. Like, if he's a roster filler, then I have plenty of that to scout. Don't you get? But
he's not a quarterback.
Same formula.
Like I'm talking
I was
quarterbacks.
just talking generically.
Like quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, quarterbacks. They're either no. I'm going to shut up. Yeah, that's fine.
Are you though?
That's the right process.
No,
Probably,
like some.
Frank, and did Russ get rid of the T. Higgins jersey altogether, or is it actually hung up? I think he set it on fire.
If it would be right here, we got a carpet, so I had to move it to a safe place. So it's now even further out of my realm of attention to hang it up.
It's now even further away from being hung up. Somehow it regressed to a state of even less hung upness. Got it. James Williams. The T. Higgins jersey is like the star of the show. It's
I get
character. Does this team have the ability to compete this year? 1 QB, 18 league, so high starter caliber. Burrow, Watson, and Dak.
Oh,
in 1 QB. Okay. Ken Walker, Breece Hall, Tyler Algier, Khalil Herbert, Rashad White. It's pretty solid.
We buried the lead.
Then he's got the 101, he's got the 102, and he's got Madison, Alexander Madison. I guess. I'm missing the rest of your team here. Here we go.
Right.
He's got JJ Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown. What? There's a team.
Oh,
there it is. Jameson Williams, Nico Collins, Elijah Moore, Hodges, and Moose.
Oh my! Yes, you can. I mean, you could do whatever the heck you want with so much of this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the top 6 receivers.
Yeah, and your quarterback is just good.
And running back 1.
You got the running back 1.
Breece, who's also top 3.
You just need Travis Kelce. Go get Travis Kelce.
Yes,
that's it.
Yes, literally. Go get Travis Kelce.
I mean, if you can get Josh Allen, get him too, but start with Kelce because he's probably reasonably easy to get based on age and dynasty. And then, yes, this team, not only can it win, it should, or you fail.
And then,
not really.
I get it. You don't usually talk about trading QBs, 4 QBs and a 1 QB, but like, why not go get Allen or Mahomes? Because you can. Like, you can. Yes, you have the ability to compete this game.
yes.
I'm just going to take a step back and say, yes.
Should we clap?
Pete, 12-team Dynasty Superflex tight end premium start 9. Trade Pickens and Akers for Pitts. Yes.
I would do that pretty easily.
Yes. LC for 3. I like that name. How far apart do you guys consider CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Waddle? It's a good question. I'm attempting to buy Lamb or trade roster Lamb with Waddle, but I'm unsure how to close the perceived gap between the two. See, rankings wise, I like They're like peas in a pod. They're in a similar range. Keep trade cut, DLF, ADP. Reality-wise, yeah, Waddle's got more value.
No, he wants to
in my opinion.
use Waddle to get Lamb. Like, you should be
I
able
know
to pretty much swap those.
I think you should ask for stuff on top of CD Lamb for Waddle. So I don't know I'm the best one to give advice. Like, that's where I'm at. I think there's like not much, but there's like a second round pick difference. I would just rather roster Waddle.
I just wouldn't do it. Like, I get liking Lamb more than Waddle, but like, find something.
Like,
it's got to be another way to get Lamb and have both of them on your team.
Like, trade Waddle. If you trade Waddle, I think you're either trying to elite a different tier. You're trying to get Mahomes from Cousins, kind of a move to get that value out of him, because he is a hard trade. Or you just tear up, you add something to Waddle, and instead of getting CeeDee Lamb, who's kind of in the same tier for me, you go try and get Jefferson or Chase. Like, that's the only move I can think of, because this is too 1-to-1 for me.
To me, that's
especially at the same position.
That's the only way you go if you're going up from Waddle or Lamb. Like, going up to AJ Brown or whatever doesn't matter. Like, unless you're going to Chase or Jefferson, using same position, same tier, just.
Could you guys cover it for a second? I gotta step away for a minute. I'll pull something new up.
Gavin Ferguson, 12-team Superflex, start 10. This was a terrible one to walk away. Give the 208 and the 307 and get Dameon Pierce. Honestly, that is. I usually don't answer get Pierce, but the answer is yes, get Pierce. Thank you, Peter. Yeah. And he walks away on McGonagall. I would have loved to hear Peter say McGonagall.
He probably would have been all right.
Start 10, tight end premium. The 311 or Mike Gesicki.
Yep.
Whatever. I don't. Like, honestly, like, Mike Gesicki, just because he's gone now. So hopefully he will go to a team that wants to actually use him. Because 2 years ago when the Dolphins used him, he was a good tight end.
He's really athletic.
Penn State pass catchers, baby. Woo, woo. So I would. The 311. Who the hell cares?
I gotta be honest. I gotta go back to that question because it's like the dad joke in my mind with the CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Waddle. How far apart like? My initial thought was about 1,300 miles. But I know. I'm sorry.
And we had to go back for you to say that.
Well, because I haven't been able to get a word in. I mean,
Peter's gone now. Yeah, you can get them all out.
He can still hear us. Shh.
No, whatever. I love Peter. I said it. I can't use the mouse to make.
No, but you can read the next one that Zach has.
FF Uncle Phil. I don't care that it's wrong. That's what I'm saying. Evening. Toronto Dave gave us a football party. Here we go. Uncle Phil. Superflex 12 team. Start 11. Love it. Tight end premium. Have Stevenson, Javonte, Aaron Jones, Dylan, Zeke, and Henry. Just traded Henry for the 112. You got a first for Henry. That's pretty good. It feels gross, but he's going to be 30, so I figured get out now.
It is gross, but it's still not a bad dynasty move.
If you want to get out now, you are lucky to have gotten a first. I think that's really what it comes down to, because of the time of year and because of the age, because of the changeover that happened in Tennessee. Yeah, these are all reasons to lower a value of a 30-year-old running back. If a 30-year-old running back should ever have value in the first place, which Derrick Henry should. So, I think you did a good job. Hey, recovering Ridley Truther. Gentlemen, what's your views on the older tight ends with past dominant production, especially in 0.75 to 2 tight end premium? Bye, Peter. Mainly Waller and Kittle. I'm trying to add them to leagues while there's no points. Send Pittman and Dulcich for Kittle and Waller in a 12-team, 1 PPR, 2 tight end premium.
Yes. Yeah, I would do that.
I'm going to say this because you have always been the smart one that said just keep going and getting Kittle. I just didn't like rostering Kittle for the longest time, and it really comes down to me being wrong, sort of. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, and I said this once already to the show, and it like kind of clicked in my brain a week or two ago, when Gronk was really in his prime of being DT at the TE tight end one. He was missing 3 or 4 games every single season.
Yes.
But he was tight end 1 points per game, and sometimes even just like tight end 1 full points anyway, because that's how bad the tight end position was in general. Kittle is that. Like, I remember this season just being like, Kittle's done. Whatever. Get away from Kittle. Get away from Kittle. Then he got healthy and started putting up 25, 30 points a game. And it's just like,
I've been trying to buy George Kittle for a late first-round pick for like a year, and I haven't got anyone to buy.
And I'm in on Waller, especially at the price you paid for him, because he's there. They like him in Oakland. He's going to be a part of that offense. Chances are, whatever QB they bring in will be an upgrade from what Derek Carr was last year. And hopefully Waller stays healthy, in which case everything gets better for Waller as well. And in a 2-point premium, which is
the interesting thing, and it's cool that you brought up Gronk. I mean, not that Kittle is Gronk, because Gronk, you could basically take Gronk's career, cut it in half, and he'd be 2 Hall of Fame tight ends.
Yeah.
But Gronk, when he got hurt, didn't play. Kittle plays through so much, and I think that's going to hurt Mark Andrews' value next year, and it shouldn't, because Mark Andrews played through injury too.
And I hate him for it.
And I get it, and a lot of people do, because a lot of people, Mark Andrews was scoring, 17, 18, 20 points a game in the first 8 games, and then he hurt his knee and his shoulder, and all of a sudden he was like 6 points a game, and people, didn't win their championships because they had Mark Andrews, and they thought that
are they very small people, like 180
tiny people,
like they tiny people?
Very
that's probably
small.
why they were hurt. Yeah,
Emotionally,
but that's kind of the issue with tight end is they are taking so much punishment that it's almost impossible to get through an entire year without being injured. If you don't sit out and you're playing as a tight end, you may be helping your kid. That was Kittle. And we talked about this at the beginning of the year. Kittle was blocking. He was not going out for routes. It was Ross Dwelly going out for routes. But you knew that Kittle was going to get healthy and start running Ross Dwelly routes,
running those Ross.
Yeah.
12 teams who flex PPR start 11 as Tua and Waddle for Carr, Olave, and 24 first. Waddle.
Still Tua Waddle for me, even though Olave is. Well, I mean, are we the level of crossing off Waddle and Olave? Because I don't think I'm there yet, but I know I talk to Bosch too much, so like my thinking of what people think of Olave is too high, because he has Olave like wide receiver 3 or 4. But I still have Waddle over Olave, and then I want Tua over Carr in a 24 first.
So you guys both snapped at that. For me, it would take me a minute to say, Tua Waddle. Like, it wouldn't just be like, Tua Waddle. I look at that and go, it's Tua and Waddle. So for me, it's a bit closer, but it's still Tua Waddle. Like,
oh no,
I think same tier. It's just I have both players slightly higher in that,
which I'd prefer.
So it's not like a win, but it's
yeah.
How can I get with Tom?
This is why I was asking what his handle was like an hour ago.
Kissingberry. He works on an English schedule, so it's like 5-hour difference. So that might be awkward, but like,
so like 2 hours he'll be waking up.
He also writes for DLF, and do they do that podcast still?
Read and React, they do in season only.
Oh, in season only, but it's worth listening to anyway. Definitely looking for more help, IDP help.
Yeah, he's absolutely
not like my first stop. Yeah. Lounging Bear, what veteran running back would you target with an early second for production in 2023? When is the best time to trade for a veteran running back?
Right now / right when you have to score points. If you're worried about value, you trade for him now. If you're more worried about they might get hurt or the team might draft another guy, I want to wait as long as humanly possible to pick which running back I want to score me points, because running backs get hurt a lot, and teams will draft running backs because you need bodies in a running back room, because running backs get hurt a lot. So when a team will draft a running back in the 4th or 5th, and it is 1000% like a backup running back, people will still panic and maybe lower their value a little bit on these veteran running backs, even though they shouldn't. So it depends when you feel like and what you're afraid of and what value you want to spend. Like, there's so much that goes into it. But again, like, they will be cheapest now. But
don't we just start with Derrick Henry?
Yeah. So you should probably get him for a second. And honestly, no. They will most likely draft a running back. And I think that will drop his value even more. Even though if you told me right now I can, on a competing team, send like the 202 to go get Derrick Henry, I don't think I could say no just because I want to wait a bit.
And that's what I'd look at Derrick Henry. I'd look at Josh Jacobs, who again is out of favor, even though he was fantastic. Look at Akers like that.
Sorry, you said Josh Jacobs. Like, I don't care where he goes.
He's good.
There's very, very, very few places that I care where, like, it would be bad that he went. Yeah. But like, you buy him now because if he goes to Miami, like, let's not pretend that the Raiders were good. Let's not pretend that the Raiders have the greatest offensive line. Let's not pretend they had the greatest offensive system. And he still did this. I almost feel bad for not liking him for a while. Like, I'm never sad to be proven wrong when I say a player isn't doing well, because I want everyone to succeed, and he did. And he still didn't catch as many passes as he could.
Is Dalvin Cook another one that early second that we're interested in?
You can absolutely get him for a second. You do not have to pay first for Dalvin anymore, but he looks a little slow to me. And he reminds me of Adrian Peterson a bit, in a fact where I hated having Adrian Peterson on my fantasy teams, not because he didn't score points, because in his prime, he was the 101.
Right.
But because Adrian Peterson would run for a total of, like, let's just say 30 rushes per game. 28 of them would be for 1 to 3 yards.
Yeah. And then
1 or 2 of them would be for 60 yards and a touchdown. And that's how he got his points. And it made me like have heart palpitations.
It's like Nick Chubb does. It's so funny. Like, it really, like, it's so fun to watch him like break that 60-yard run.
He gets more, like, to me, you see more 20-yard runs out of Nick Chubb than we ever did.
Yeah, but you're thinking like 35-year-old Adrian Peterson, though. Like,
no. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of like 27-year-old Adrian Peterson. 35-year-old Adrian Peterson, he didn't get those 60-yard rushes, but he still was pretty good at running back too, which is just to say how inhuman he was from the very beginning.
There are a lot of running backs on the list of players that DLF rankings consensus likes better than average right now, but I think the ones that fit what you're looking for, Christian McCaffrey is number one. He's not really that vet running back, but the difference between them is significant ADP to consensus. Like, he's running back 2 for us and running back 5 for average, and that's significantly based on where you get him. But outside of that is Kamara, Swift, Aaron Jones. I think it's a really good name, and then Dalvin Cook is the next one that comes up.
I need to see what happens.
Elijah Mitchell and James Robinson. DLF is not drafting them really high, but not quite really to let go of the idea that they could get into a job again, and we know they can do something. So we have them as like running back, top 30 running backs, which is significantly different from where they're going in ADP. So, if you're looking for 2 flyers, kind of a thing. Zach Linton. FF Uncle Piff. 12 teams through Flex PPR tight end premium 0.175. Shoot words.
matter. This win
Start
anyway.
11. AJ Brown or the 103
AJ Brown.
in Super.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's AJ Brown. James Williams, I like the love, they said. Yeah. Honestly, I think that's fair. Richard, acquiring Hurts for Dak, Ayuk, and a 302 and the 309.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's not much to give up to move up that far. Yeah.
Hold on. You can't move away. Traded the 109 and 111
And John Ross?
John Ross. What?
Did he come with his own island?
What? Is he still in the league?
Richard's just out here getting value off, random people off the street. It's like he doesn't play in the NFL, but he's really fast.
It's a good night tonight, fellas.
Good job. Shavini, and always is when you're here, Russ, and you, Zach. Hopefully the Pats don't blow their cap space on more signings like Hunter Henry and Judas. I mean, they will. That's what the Pats do, right? We've got some money.
It made sense at the time, but
they want to be productive with players you don't think they should get, whether it's a draft or free agency. That's what they want to do.
That's what they've always done.
They want to find players who do a specific. It's the Moneyball thing. They want to find a player who does a specific thing well, and then say, "Go do that thing."
But
Unfortunately, Jonnu Smith got hurt, and Hunter Henry caught touchdowns. It's not like
he was good. It was really first year, especially. Yeah.
Like you saw, I was sad when they signed both of them, but when you took a step back, you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense that the Patriots would do that.
Yeah.
LC for 3. Is there any real path left for Justin Herbert to be a dominant?
Absolutely.
Having wide receivers.
He is, I think, right? But anyway, and both his wide receivers are older and more injury prone. I don't think injury prone is a thing, and older is a dynasty value thing. I think they'll be fine next year. Eckler is getting older, and his head coach is a doofus. Can't speak for the last one. Don't know they exist. But again, age doesn't relate to talent. That's a dynasty value thing. Josh Palmer did pretty well this year, and I think would have done well earlier if the wide receivers in front of him weren't so good, maybe. But and also, this is a good draft class to pick up Keenan Allen type. Yeah, to be honest. But no, I'm not like.
Yes, the answer is yes.
There's a connection between the two, but Justin Herbert can do well without having someone even as great as Keenan Allen, even though he does help him. It works in the reverse too. Like a wide receiver doesn't need Justin Herbert to be top 12. Same is true in reverse.
And we also can't overlook the fact that they just got Kellen Moore, who is going to be very good for Justin Herbert, especially with their line not being as great as it used to be. Kellen Moore likes to get the ball out fast, in which case you are going to see a new crop of wide receivers in there, because I love Mike Williams, hashtag Team Clem's a big wide receiver, but he's not the kind of guy you have on a team where you want to get the ball out fast. Keenan, yes, because he's still a very good route runner, but honestly, maybe Palmer will still be there. He'll probably be their deep guy, but I think they're going to bring in 3 to 4 new wide receivers and just rebuild all of that.
I was trying to summarize things I look for to rank in that rankings article, and I was trying to make a bullet point list, and I didn't get near far enough in the process that it was good. But one of the ones I ended up sticking with, even though it sounded like, honestly, I sound like a jackass most of the time, so I guess it's fine, but was that people have a hard time thinking long term, even in Superflex, even in quarterback. So let me throw something at you, LC for 3. How about in 10 years? Do you think 10 years is enough for them to find another couple good wide receivers that are 24? Because only 24-year-olds are allowed to be good. Quarterback careers are immense. And just expend that 2 years. Do you not think they can find some other good players? Even if you think all these guys are done forever. And Aaron Rodgers has been doing it with one guy year over year. And how much of it has been one guy? And how much of it is Aaron Rodgers has always been a debate. But they can find other players even if they needed to, and I don't think they do immediately. Especially in playing Dynasty, there's no need to struggle to think long term about the one position where really a decade is a reasonable expectation. Median. James Williams is talking to someone else. Evening, fellas. Hello, above grief.
Hey.
Do you guys ever feel bad about getting one over on your league mates? No.
Nope.
No, I hate those guys. And guys, let me move off Dak. I sent Daniel Jones 105 to 109 to him for Dak, and Najee and a 24 first and the 305. Just and the 305. I was gonna say it wasn't that bad, and then it just kept rolling. So, nah. Screw those guys. Unless they're also in here, in which case screw you and screw everybody, really. Clip. Above grief, he accepted and I feel bad now. I'm sorry. I have had it where someone felt bad after a trade we've done, and I try honestly not to have that be the case, and so I sent them something else for a lot less than it was worth to balance it out. I've done that. At the end of the day, honestly, again, thinking long term, it's better that someone's happy with the trade. Then, I squeeze out an extra second or first in value. But I mean, it depends on the league you play. If we're in that $300 buy-in league, no, screw you. I mean, it's too hot.
So if you feel bad, you throw them a bone, and the next time you try and do a trade, I mean,
Yeah, you do another trade where you give up slightly more.
Yeah, and don't actually tell them that you're doing that, because that's condescending.
And again, I mean, sometimes I've done a trade and they felt bad for me, and I was right. Dang it! Or the reverse has happened to me too. Like, I mean, they're making their bets. They're fully realized adult, try not to condescend with it too. But I get what you're saying, James Williams. Plus, they have an underwhelming defense, which I can't speak to. I think that can work both ways, though, to be honest with you, in terms of fantasy production. Force them to keep passing if they take Sean Tucker late. If they could replace Eckler and Keenan in this draft. I think I'm missing more.
They're talking about Herbert.
Doesn't change what I say, though. I think that his weapons are fine for at least a couple years, and if not, there's more than enough time to find replaceable talent. And Justin Herbert can get a lot done by himself, even if you don't have... And he has really quality weapons, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, I firmly put Justin Herbert in that second tier below.
He's with Burrow,
Mahomes.
I mean...
I might... I think I need to see 2 games next year, and I'll put Hurts up there also, by the way.
That's a way of anti-phrasing this. Think about Burrow. He doesn't have the age concerns, but the young players are due contracts, and now they're worried that T. Higgins isn't sticking around. There's always something to think that, this team's not going to stick together, but Herbert is good. He is a dominant fantasy quarterback, and that's just the way I think of it. 12 team Superflex PPR tight end premium start 10. Pickett and Tony for Mac Jones. That's too much. Oh, wait, Superflex. Pickett and Tony for Mac Jones. 205. I'd rather have Mac Jones. It feels... I don't know.
Mac Jones over Pickett and Tony the 205.
So, right now, I think you can get Mac Jones for a song, and you've traded a really popular young wide receiver, and that just feels off. But I think, I prefer Mac Jones.
But he's really popular for the same reason that Gabe Davis was really popular last year.
That's what, but that's what I mean, though. Feels like you get a better trade for Pickett, but getting Mac Jones is good. So, yeah. James Martin, thoughts on trading Calvin Ridley for Pat Freiermuth? Rather awesome.
In Premium League, and you want to get younger,
Yeah. Never say no to a Pat Freiermuth trade. Aiming for 2024 run. It's just Calvin Ridley. When you want them players end up in the same trade, Aaron Wilson, 10 team Superflex. Is the 109 the line teardrop where you would trade out? I'd trade out at any point if I get the right value normally, but no, it's a little higher than that. I'd say in a Superflex, probably the 6 is where I'm good players still, I'm sure, but there's 6 players in here that I'd hang in for.
I still want to be in the
Maybe
6. I'd probably stick around at the 7. Although if I got something nice, I'd trade out.
You always trade. You can all, if it's a good trade, it's a good trade. But
Yeah.
I think the tier you're looking for is about 6 players in this draft.
Yes, maybe 7.
And
You don't like Quentin Johnston, that's fine. But I
I
think
don't
he's
not like
probably
him. Like I specifically said, not. I don't not like him. I have some
You don't
questions
like him
about
better
where his
than-
value's at. No, what I was going to say is the line's normally at 4 for me. It's a lot closer to 4 than 6 on average. So that's what I mean by
But-
deep.
Okay, but what I'm saying, Peter, is Quentin Johnston's going to be in the top 7 with consensus. He may be higher than Smith and Jigba and Addison, which to me means that I want to stick around at 7 because I'm going to get one of those players that I like.
Yeah, I think we are. I don't know. I think we might be talking a little too strong about like the top 4 being the top 4 that, well, top 6. I think in superflex drafts, like, I mean, like the more I see about Levis getting taken by the Colts at 6,
Yeah,
he could very easily turn into the 104, and that's just pushing
Good for
guys who
those
like that.
people.
Yeah.
So like, which makes me want to think like at the 109, like maybe I hang around. Like,
Yeah.
like that's a move because you could, no matter what, you could do that on the clock. Like that's not something you need to do now.
Right.
So I don't know if I do that now. All right, you can keep going.
It's
Sorry.
most a wide receiver 5. I mean, it's hardly hate.
Why are you
I
so
had to
low?
pull it up. I don't know. Same tier as Downs and Butte. Very different players, and that's the difference essentially. Yeah, but I think the 6 is a fair line for this year. In terms of the tier he's asking about. A2Z, 12 teams who flex PPR, tight end premium, Pollard, Hawkinson, and versus Andrews and Christian Kirk, and a 24 first. Pollard and Hawkinson.
No, Andrews.
So
and
Andrews
Kirk
over
first.
Hawkinson,
I don't
and
understand.
then Pollard for Kirk. Second side, the Andrews side, please.
What am I
Yes.
missing?
Yeah.
You're missing
That
that people
everyone-
are still
Pollard.
high on Pollard, even though he broke his leg.
So like Pollard, I have many times over the past few weeks say how much I am angry and how much I hate Mark Andrews. I would take Mark Andrews over Hawkinson and Pollard.
And it wasn't particularly hard for me.
It'll be
Right or
interesting to
wrong.
see, though. Dallas has talked about franchising Pollard.
Yeah, they would do that.
That's wild to pay $10.5 million for a backup running back.
They'll do it. I mean, if there's a team that would do it, it would be the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That sounds very true. I have Dobbins, Swift, Gibson, Madison, and I will be drafting Bijan. I will be drafting Bijan. And would you feel safe riding those running backs? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Swift
Yeah,
is your RB2, Dobbins is your 3. Yeah.
I mean, you can always trade, and you can always trade running back specifically, but yeah, your running back
Yeah,
room
like
is pretty good.
assuming everyone stays healthy, you feel great rolling into the season with that running back room.
I'm very strong everywhere else. I don't know why I'm saying it like this, but yeah,
That's how I read it.
awesome
That
to
just sounds like a brag and nothing else.
hear. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, man. Richard Davis, Justin Ross. Okay, that makes not John. Not
Oh,
John
and
Ross.
I don't like that anymore. You lost because you sent it away.
I do still like Justin. I don't care. I do still like Justin Ross. Costy, Peter, do you use AI to help develop your spreadsheets? I do not. I would not even know how to go about that.
I'm not
I
sure.
haven't
like,
even
is
used
this
chat
real
AI or whatever.
a question? Like, is this a
No, yeah, AI is becoming like something that you can commonly use. It's becoming fairly publicly available. I mean, I've played around with chess AI bots, and that they have kicked my ass at chess a lot. AI is becoming fairly.
yeah, but like,
It's becoming a thing, Russ. I mean, like I've been saying for years, I welcome the robot overlords, and I just hope they remember that when the day comes.
No, like just make it swift and painless for me. That's fine.
I read iRobot once.
Please
I
take
watched
over.
the movie. Does
Like,
that count? It was not that.
there's like an animated movie where there's a smart house who locks the people in, and humans have become useless essentially because robots and AI do everything. I watched it like really late night on some program, and all I could think of was, I know I'm meant to feel bad, but I'm like, yeah, take over machines, you do better.
Please, like, take some stress off of me. Yeah.
Like, left to my own devices, I have dedicated 100% of all the hours I don't spend working to making spreadsheets about fantasy football. This species doesn't belong in charge of shit. Like, yeah.
Peter,
I realize I'm a low example of our species, don't get me wrong, but
Peter, you need to get on Netflix. You need to go look up Love, Death, and Robots and just watch
I
that.
watch that. I've heard so many good things about that. And I keep
It's just a whole bunch of shorts. They're phenomenal. They're so good.
It might have been one of the
I think it was like one of the episodes is the robot vacuum that decides that the woman is the enemy. Yeah.
The only one I don't like is is it WALL-E, where the people are useless and the robots do everything, so the people have become fat and like gluttonous. I'm like, I mean, you can make spreadsheets and have a healthy diet, okay? Like, it's not. You don't have to be
not me.
Lazy.
The Girl Scout cookies came today.
Got a few. I don't know.
Godspeed, Zach. Godspeed.
I tell you what, I'm just. We don't need to talk about this, we're already running late. But my preferences run me towards healthy living, and it's not because I have particularly... Like, most people work really hard to be healthy and exercise. And I like running, and I prefer healthy food, just straight up, and I don't like cookies or sugar. Like, not because I'm working hard to stay healthy. It's just, you can keep it. It's just not what strikes me. I'm weird, sorry. Richard Davis. It was the 109, the 111, and
we did answer this question, Richard, and it was Deshaun Watson.
Yes. That doesn't change it, but
yeah,
it's good to know. Thank you.
Changed it for me.
What is the highest, best 2023 pick you'd send to get DeAndre Swift?
I think once we get out of the guys we think are top tier, and maybe this two QBs, the two second tier QBs, so like 9, 10-ish.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to get him for that, though?
No. Yeah. But if I can add something to those, I don't want to. I would rather have a lot of those rookies on my team, or even if you get to the 108, 109, and Richardson and Levis are still there, I think trading that I would rather be on the clock, trade that pick for one of those quarterbacks to go get Swift than to trade Swift and JSN be sitting there, because that would make me sad. So that's really all it is. I think that's a very strong preference, but it would be late if we're talking. Am I allowed to add to the pick? If not, I'll go up 1 or 2 and feel anxiety as the draft goes.
Non-dynasty question. We don't do this. Do you guys all have personal YouTube accounts that you do videos about Dynasty on? If so, a shout out to each of them will be awesome.
Peter?
I do. I think this live streams to it. It's just at PA Howdy is the thing.
Richard, you should look up Peter's YouTube channel and check out some of his other content, because it's fantastic. He does seriously, and this is not just because we're on a stream together, but it's because I get an awful lot from your content, Peter. But he does a really good short 10-15 minute videos, really good, really actionable content. Right now he's doing a lot of right now he's doing a lot of draft stuff, which is kind of not topical, but you can go back, and a lot of them are evergreen. A lot of them are theory.
I'm not trying to tell you to go buy this guy or that guy. I'm trying to say, well, yeah, this is how I've made a process. You can disagree with it, but here's how I go about making a process.
That's
I don't
theory,
know how to
man.
explain it.
That's theory. I did that.
Sorry. See, I know you mean it because we hate each other in real life, so you wouldn't compliment the YouTube channel unless I was doing good work, and I appreciate that. No, I'm trying my best. It's actually really fun. I want to hate it because TikTok and YouTube videos, I want to be grumpy old man about this stuff, but it's actually really fun to do it, and I'm really happy with the way it's going. So, thank you. But you can check out Russ on the Trade Addicts podcast. I would definitely
you don't
recommend downloading that
stream.
every week. And while it's not a YouTube video, you can listen to it while you do other things. That's a good thing about a podcast. You don't have to watch. Dynasty Dummies for Zach Reed. Not so weekly lately, but there is about to be a
Peter.
big episode.
It's starting back up.
The Dynasty Hootenanny. I know, but it's actually an awesome episode. It's a really good place to start learning about rookies if you haven't done too much already, because they really do get into it. So I'd recommend both of those outside of a YouTube channel. Although my YouTube channel, clearly, that's where you should start. I'm just saying.
Or you can check out the
I could use it.
That's not where you are right now.
I don't know, guys, if you noticed, but I've been trying something new with my thumbnails, and I'm hoping they look a little less crappy because they were just made by me in like Paint, and I found finally what do you call it, like a template, and so I've been trying to use that. Hopefully, it'll look a little less crappy. Justin Johnson, what's your take on John Mitchie? Second John Mitchie question. Happy to see it. If the Texans are a solid franchise QB, I don't rate that as an element, but whatever. Does he have wide receiver 2 floor, wide receiver 1 ceiling, or is he more of a wide receiver 2 or 3? Based on what I saw of his prospect profile, and not the injury or his value right now or anything else, and like wide receiver 2 is the upside for me, but I said the same thing about Jahan Dotson, and he really impressed me year 1. He's somewhat competent, and I get a lot wrong. So he doesn't rate near the JSN, Lee Addison, or any of these guys in terms of upside for fantasy. But then again, I would have said the same about Terry McLaurin. So Zach, Russ, you got anything else to add about what he can do?
I think if John Mechie got drafted by a team that wasn't the Texans and didn't have such opportunity in front of him, he would have gotten drafted even lower in our rookie drafts. Yeah. I wanted him on. I wanted to draft him again because of the situation, and now I'm rooting for him because of what he's going through in his life. But
to be fair, fantasy is like a strong aside from just being good in the NFL. He could be
he could very well be very
NFL player. Just not our thing.
Like I wouldn't go out and spend real capital on acquiring him, but if you can go send a late third for John Mechie, why the hell not?
I mean, we do have a healthier return and hype because of the opportunity, so there's at least a value potential bump. Yeah, sorry. Zach.
No, I was reading my opening for John Mechie and laughing. I said the star Alpha Centauri emits roughly the same total energy as the sun, but since it's 270,000 times further away, it appears 73 billion times fainter from Earth. Astronomers call this the John Mechie inverse light law, named after the forgotten Alabama wideout who was outshone by Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, and Jameson Williams over the course of his career.
Okay. I mean, I understood that. I could easily produce content that good.
I can't.
Me neither. Sean, just traded the 2 or 3 Pickens, Dalton Schultz for Garrett Wilson. Thought?
I like just it. Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
Yeah, you get Wilson. How do you handle the 101? I draft Bijan Robinson most times. But you are value-based in moves. Yeah, but like no one's going to give you the value. I mean, we've seen it. Some trades have been suggested and shown. It happens, but like I want max value, or I'm drafting Bijan Robinson, which means
so excited about the MFL rollover because now we can go into the trade finder and look for trades for the 101, and it'll be so much easier. Yeah, trade him if you don't want him. Like that's what you do. Like if you earn the 101, you don't really want Bijan on your team because your team's not that good. Because you earned the 101. So yeah, you trade him. And the thing is, you need to find a trade that you feel comfortable doing that with. I traded. I'm sorry, T. Higgins. I love you. I traded for you right away. I traded T. Higgins, Treylon Burks, and a 24 first for the 101. T. Higgins, Treylon Burks, and a 24 first for the 101. I thought this was fair. This felt like a very fair trade for the 101, which should not happen for this 101. And then I put it as a Twitter poll, and it was about 70% for the T. Higgins side. So just what you have to do is just something you feel comfortable letting go of the running back 1 for, and if you can get that, you go do that.
When has the running back 1 been wrong? Is a fair question to ask, because I don't want to make that mistake. What if he's not this good? Fair question. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
But he wasn't the running back 1 until he got drafted.
No, like he wasn't the running back 1.
He was the running back 5 or 6.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the example used. I'm like, the only comparison is that, and it's also inaccurate.
Bishop Sankey.
So
yeah, Bishop Sankey was like the last one.
Was he in Dynasty? Because
he was not
he was
the 101 in
NFL,
Dynasty.
No, but he was the running back 1. Right.
Yeah. Like we've never my evaluations are wrong all the time. As a group, NFL consensus, just Devy community have never been that drastically wrong on a running back.
And the funny thing is, it doesn't come around very often. But every time it does, I fight this fight. So I fought this fight with Ezekiel Elliott when he was the guy. I fought this fight. I fought this fight with McCaffrey, but it doesn't matter which one of those running backs you fought the fight for, whether it was McCaffrey or Cook or whether it was, it didn't matter. I fought this fight with Saquon where, and I fought it with Jonathan Taylor, where you look at these backs and people are like, well, they've never done it in the NFL. And you're like, it doesn't matter. They are so much better than every other player that I've ever watched. They're so much better than. And to me, and I know we had this conversation, Peter, but I've got my little Word document that says for Peter, where I have my overall running back pre-draft grades from 2016 on, and it's Saquon Barkley, it's Christian McCaffrey, it's Dalvin Cook, it's Jonathan Taylor, and it's Bijan Robinson. And Taylor, Cook, and Bijan Robinson are all tied. Like that's how good Bijan Robinson is, and so that's how confident.
So the point I was trying to make is I'm not trying to tell you I know the future. I'm just saying like that's the only fear is fear itself. Like literally, just what if we're all wrong? Okay, you want to make decisions on what if gravity doesn't exist? Go ahead. I mean, we don't know anything for certain, but like at some point you have to decide. Well, all due diligence has been done, and this is true. And if it's not true, life is unpredictable and unexpected. But like, you would never cross the street if you applied this mentality to anything else. Because what if there is actually traffic and I'm just not seeing it? Like it's just. It's frustrating. Like, we could be wrong, but there's no reason to think we are.
I want to take a step back and not even talking about players and how good they are. This is where it's valued, and that's all that matters to me, because I don't do player evaluation. I know that Bijan, I can say, I have been told Bijan was taken in the first round of a Superflex startup. Yeah. It's happened. That's where we are. Well, the 101, sorry. So the 101 was taken in the first round of a Superflex startup. We are in this world. So that is what you should be valuing this pick at least.
And James, that energy wasn't directed to you. It's just people pose these questions, but they don't offer any reasons for it. It's like, what if he's not? What is your reason for thinking he's not? Stop just posing hypotheticals, asking questions. Yeah, but you've got nothing to add beyond that. Like, if you have nothing to add beyond that, then you may as well just shut up.
Now, the thing I will say where he says, would you hold or shop? Now, if I could get McCaffrey plus, if I could get Saquon plus, if I could get Breece Hall plus, then we're talking.
Like you're taking all the risk out of it, and yeah exactly. That's how you play value, and it's the way I lean to play in Dynasty. But it's just posing a question. Do you have an answer? No. Well then, okay, cool, sure. Go ask questions to the corner. Not you, James, but just I see on my timeline constantly. It's an engagement tweet. What if he's Clyde Edwards-Helaire? What's the comparison? There is none. Okay, let's move on. Yeah. Justin Johnson, 12 teams, start 9, looking to trade Mixon for Swift. What should be added to the Mixon side, if anything, to acquire Swift? I think there's a value difference.
Currently in ADP, there's not. There probably is.
I would throw a second and feel completely fine about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. Like, I'm not putting a first there, but if like I have to put like 2 later seconds, I'm fine with that.
But if you're gonna do that, why don't you go up and get Breece Hall? Like if you're gonna add to get Swift, why wouldn't you add to get Breece Hall? Because I feel more comfortable with Breece Hall being a back that gets all of the volume than I do with Swift ever being the back who is what everybody has hoped he would be for the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's Lucy in the football thing. Like, I'm not gonna go out on Swift, but like I'll look for an alternative just in case. So Breece Hall's a good one. Najee Harris is probably 2 in the middle.
Even
like he's there, but he's not.
Even Nick Chubb. Like I know that Nick Chubb doesn't have like the RB1 overall upside, but man, he's going to be top 6 or 7.
That's what I'm interested in exploring. This, can I get the older guys? But you're trading an old guy away, so like, I don't know if that's just sideways.
I think he's a better old guy.
Chubb,
I think Nick Chubb is.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, you probably have to add to Mixon to get Chubb, right?
You do for sure.
Yeah. Significant. But yeah, Breece Hall's probably the target there. Can't think of anyone else. No, that's about it. But yeah, do it, Zach. That's what I do. Richard Davis traded what on the 202 for the 101? Yeah, I don't hate it.
Trade Waddle in the 202 for the 101 in a 10-team Superflex start 11. I mean, I guess.
Way to get Waddle's value
but it's a good value.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me happy. And that's what this is about, so.
Well, but the nice thing about the 101, so normally what I'm looking to do is get a player like Waddle for that running back, but I do it after I've used 2 years of that running back. Yeah. And so you get the running back, you get the production, and then you trade for Waddle or whoever the Waddle is in 2 years.
Excellent point. A way to make me feel better about this trade is you get Bijan Robinson, then in 2 years you go get whoever is Waddle at the time. So like you're gonna,
you've got to be able to, and this is the really hard part about the way I play Dynasty is you've got to be really disciplined because it sucks to trade Jonathan Taylor after he's had a 1,500 yard season. It sucks trading Saquon Barkley after 2. Like it really does. But you end up with AJ Brown. You end up with Justin Jefferson. And so that's how I build my team because it's easier for me to identify a running back in a rookie class than it is to identify. Even though I've been really lucky with receivers, it's easier to identify that running back.
It really is. And again, their accuracy, my accuracy, everyone's freaking accuracy is off the charts when it comes to running back ranks. Rookie running back ranks. It's kind of insane. Richard Davis, Love, Death, Robots is the best animated. Good. I think that was the one. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's very good, sorry. I couldn't get any first for Swift. Then you probably just keep him. Yeah, you guys want to join my league? Yeah, sure. Send the link.
Sorry.
Apart from Russ, he's in like 2 million, and he runs them. Justin Johnson, 107 to 109, 201 and 204. Should I trade up in Superflex to acquire a quarterback? Mayfield and Corral are my best 2. And just got this as an orphan team.
No, Mac Jones, baby. Yeah. You don't have to trade up for Mac Jones. Go get Mac Jones. Go get whoever that next, like Kirk Cousins, whatever. And then you don't have to do that. And you still probably have the 109 and the 204. And you have two quarterbacks.
Yep. Got it and subscribe. Thanks. Appreciate that, Richard. Thank you. It'll just be me and you hanging out, but I think we'll have fun. Drew, 12-team Superflex, half-point PPR, no tight end premium. Would you do the 111, 204 Cole Kmet and Corral for the 107? That's a package of stuff for an okay higher pick. I mean, I think the 11 and commit should get you that bump by itself. So you're throwing in the 204 and Corral.
See if you could do it without the 204.
Yeah, that would be
I
one.
don't think I don't do it because I have to put that in there.
Yeah.
But I need to go to bed. I'm super, super sleepy. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Love you all.
Good night, Russ.
Go to sleep Tuesday.
Hi, Russ.
Soon. Very soon.
We're going to close out here in a second, folks. Let me just see if... Traded Swift, Ridley, and the 103 for Higgins, the 102 and Talbot, and a late 24 third. There's a lot going on there. I think I just want the Higgins side and a higher pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Talbot, late 20.
You do get Swift.
Yeah, I mean... It's the Higgins side, but that's close.
It's a pretty decent trade. That's what that means. If you're more competitive, you could lean Swift and Ridley. That's a much more build your roster move, but it's fairly good.
I mean, the 102 just means you get to choose your quarterback in a super flex.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, yeah. Either way, you're both probably getting pretty high prospect. Joe. I know, right, Peter? See, I know acronyms. James Williams tried to trade Waddle for Olave plus. That was a smart attempt. And plus 24 first, literally 24 hours ago, and the guy told me he wouldn't send me Olave for Waddle straight up. Straight up. That's the thing. That probably is Wilson and Olave are in that top 12 for me at wide receiver. Now, I prefer AJ Brown and Waddle and CD Lamb because I've just seen him do it a little bit more. But honestly, I don't think he's too far off to say my guy's younger and did very well. And same position trades, man. They kind of suck. But you're fine keeping Waddle, to be fair, so you're not losing out too much. Here's my point. James Tucker. I traded McCaffrey in the 101 and Zeke for 2 2/3 for context. McCaffrey for the 101, Zeke and 2/3. And I would want a plus with McCaffrey to trade the 101. So the 101 straight up for McCaffrey for me will be too much. Yeah, I think, but I don't really want Zeke and 2/3 to be honest with you. And so I think it's just the 101 wins this for me. But
yeah, but then you have extra ammunition, like you can trade Zeke.
You got extra things.
Yeah.
I guess.
I'd probably try to trade
I'm not
Zeke.
a strong trader. I don't know what to do with that stuff. But he's.
Oh, I mean, I'd turn around and trade Zeke and 2/3 and try to get a wide receiver.
Oh.
Try to get like Deontay Johnson or something like that. Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, that'd be hot. Good names.
Calvin Ridley. Yeah. I mean, any of those.
Richard Davis. Also, Calvin Ridley's a good one. I don't know, the trades we're seeing, that is pretty good. Also, the team I have the 101 now have Mahomes, Dak, Lance, ETN, Bijan now. Josh Jacobs, Chase, Lamb, Jeff. This is just a show off. This is just showing off.
This is another
Kittle,
clap trade.
Still have the 103. Yeah. This is. Yep. None of my teams look nearly that good. Good job, man. Joe's trying to say something if it'll come up. I declined Hurts for Trevor Lawrence and 23-103 in a Superflex league. Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, and the 103. I think I just keep Hurts. Right?
Well, I mean, but she's saying she had Lawrence. Yeah, man, I'd keep the 2 quarterback. Lawrence. I mean, Hurts is the next tier up from Lawrence, but I don't know that I'd trade 2 quarterbacks to go. I don't mind that, Joe. Either way.
I mean, and Lawrence is a top 12 quarterback. 103 is going to be really solid, great, and quarterback prospect.
And I don't think you've seen. And again, Hurts is fantastic. Hurts is in that second tier of quarterbacks, and Lawrence is probably in the 3rd tier. But I don't think you've seen the ceiling for Lawrence yet. You haven't seen him with actual receivers. So.
That's a fair point. I mean, if Ridley is the wide receiver 1 on that team, he's immediately the best weapon he's had, apart from maybe Evan Ingram. No shade to Kirk or Zay Jones, who did phenomenal this year.
Pete, look over there.
Yeah. It's just not working.